Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Midnight Festival podcast, a late-night talk show where some cute boys talk about video games in far too much detail. I'm Chaotic Jade, and I'm the first host of two total hosts and one guest host, actually. Yeah, we have a guest with us. Do you want to introduce yourself to our listener?
Hey everybody, I'm the first of one guest host, Michael.
And I'm Neutral Cole. I'm the second of the two permanent hosts.
Yeah, you're
I was supposed
Michael,
to say the law, wasn't I?
You were supposed to say lawful, Michael. I got you.
Damn.
I got him. He's the guest host. I got him. Anyway, though, tonight we're picking apart my personal pick, Shin Megami Tensei IV. I'm sure you've noticed that we're lacking our fan favorite host, Kiowa. That's because this game is very, very difficult, and unfortunately, Kiowa succumbed, and he wasn't able to complete the game in time. So we're forced to move forward without him.
Another casualty.
A casualty, yeah. Shin Megami Tensei, for those who don't know, it's a Japanese role-playing game focused around recruiting and fusing demons to create like a powerful party to use in combat. The battles are turn-based. They're pretty hardcore. One false move will probably lead to a total party kill. This series is surprisingly not known as well as a lot of the I think the Persona games are a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei games. And at this point in time, Persona 5 is like, they've even shed the Shin Megami Tensei prefix to Persona 5, showing that it's even more diverged from the mainline series. And Persona 5's popularity, it's like through the roof, man. Persona 5's so popular. No one really knows SMT anymore, So I was curious, like, do you guys have any prior experience with the Shin Megami Tensei mainline games, or are you mostly have played Persona?
That's a good question. I've played Persona 3, I've played Persona 4, and I've played Persona 5, some spin-offs here and there, but this Shin Megami Tensei 4 is my first of the mainline series, for sure.
I'm the same with Cole. It's SMT4 is the first in the mainline I played. Persona 4, P5, and that's it.
Yeah, so this is going to be kind of a fun one, I think, because, I mean, a lot of people haven't played any of the SMT games or spin-offs or anything. I guess I haven't really dipped my toes into, I haven't played Nocturne, so I'm not like some seasoned vet, but I just appreciate the vibe of the SMT series compared to what Persona is now. What do you guys think are the big comparisons, the big differences? Is there anything that you noticed that's widely different from the Persona series, or anything that you liked more or less than the Persona series?
That's almost a loaded question.
Is it?
There's a lot. There's a lot that's the same, and there's a lot that's very different.
Okay, well, how about notable, like things you enjoyed or disliked?
Everyone knows Shin Megami Tensei. It's so obvious. It's so mainstream. We've all played it.
Yeah.
As we just exposed from our Persona knowledge.
Yeah.
I think in our pilot episode about Persona 5, there are some things that I lament about that game. The most refined, probably Shin Megami Tensei. Well, no, they shed that. Sorry. The most refined Persona game for sure. And they did things like in battle, like the guns. I hated the guns so much. This is what they should have been like, is what we have in Shin Megami Tensei 4. There's some differences in battle with fusion and demons, and the story's really different too. And yet it's still very familiar, shares some core ideas.
It just feels like a more hardcore version where, in the first few battles I was already dropping. It caught me off guard. Persona is so hand-holdy.
Yeah, especially the difficulty, especially in like Persona 5, you have to kind of go to hard mode to experience like what normal mode is in these games.
Yeah.
The difficulty is definitely notable in the Shin Megami Tensei games, and they're really well known for it. I think it's like, people who like the series are always like quick to say like, this is such a hardcore game, it's gonna smash you down. It's like it comes with some prestige. It comes with some prestige, but I think as now I'm getting older, as I'm becoming an adult, as I'm turning into an adult,
Finally.
Really?
I have become really disillusioned with the Persona series because it's always centered around high schoolers, and
Yeah.
it's getting the social aspects. I really enjoy the social simulation aspects of Persona, but now as I'm getting older, I'm really liking the really heavy, like there's some dark shit going on in Shin Megami Tensei games, and I'm really vibing with that atmosphere like a whole lot more. Just in atmosphere wise, I feel like the stories maybe in Persona are a little more developed in a way. I mean, because it's such a rigid game, you're on a fixed schedule, so it's like really
Yeah.
super story based. But this game, the story is almost like
They spend a lot of time in Persona. Like the runtime for Persona 5, I think is probably, roughly double what it is of Shin Megami Tensei 4. And a lot of that is probably just cutscenes and, you might call it filler content, running around just hanging out with your pals. And, you don't have that fluff in this game.
And texting your friends all the time, and that took up a lot of time.
texting
Just like
all the
real
time.
life.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, just like real life. There's the combat as well. What do you guys think about the press turn system? The,
A SMT staple of the
Yeah.
main lines mostly.
It was
they got-
weird. It was weird.
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
It was an adjustment at first where I had seen it when I'd watched one of the games before be played, and I had noticed it then, but actually experiencing it felt really off initially with like when you miss a hit, you lose like what two turns.
I think it's two, yeah.
You lose two, and then
You got blocking and repelling and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot to manage with your turns.
Passing uses half a press turn, and yeah, it's interesting because the game doesn't really tell you any of that. You just kind of have to notice
Yeah,
it.
that's true, isn't it?
figuring
Yeah,
out
and-
smirks.
Yeah,
You get
and
those. It's part of it.
it's cool. I think that's cool because the press turns, when you miss, you miss because those press turns are like they shatter in front of your eyes. When you pass, it like the press turn starts pulsing. Like you're like, okay, did I use half of it? Like it's a really visual and auditory sort of learning experience for those press turns. I really like press turns as far as battles go, because it just seems a lot more. It's a lot more free to set things up. Whereas in games, in more traditional role playing games, your four guys get a turn and then the enemies get a turn or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
I really liked the strategy of like setting up multi-turn things, like passing as certain guys to buff my other guys to do a big hit. The strategy of the battles is really well realized with the press turn system, I think.
It also made me play more cautious too, because I was so worried that I would hit like a drain or a repel or something, a block, even anything that would just ruin my turn and could almost cause a death.
Yeah, it's one single, like I mentioned earlier, one single mistake, even no mistakes, can lead to a whole total party kill.
Because it plays the other way around too. They want to try and put you kind of on a somewhat realistic level playing field with even the bosses and regular enemy encounters. They can get extra turns off of you if you're not careful about how you form your party and play out your moves, and you're just gonna get your ass kicked if you let them exploit your weaknesses and get more turns.
So the game is based, you can go, it's like there's little nodes, little guys, little figures running around. You can attack them,
Yep.
get into a battle. You can recruit these demons to your team. There's a bunch of different elements, fire, water, or fire, ice, whatever, electricity, and wind. All your basic JRPG shit.
All your basic bullshit, yeah.
Your basic bullshit that, and all of these have different strengths and weaknesses. Like, the enemy can exploit your weaknesses to certain elements, and you can exploit the enemy's weaknesses to certain elements. So that becomes the biggest push and pull in a combat thing, where you're just trying to exploit the enemy's weaknesses to get more turns. Because when you hit, did we mention that? When you exploit weaknesses, you get more press, or you
yes.
use a free, you get a free press turn in a way. right? I don't
Yeah,
know.
you get a half turn if
Yeah.
you manage to hit a weakness. You get a critical hit.
Yep.
And then you smirk, which is another interesting mechanic, which further adds to the strategy. Depending on if one of your guys smirks, you might want to rearrange what your original plan was to buff that guy's attack so he'll get a bunch of damage, or, it's just, it's a game where you're constantly having to think. You have to be present for each battle. It's not a game where you fuck around and like half pay attention, because it will punish you for it.
Very punishing. Sometimes I'd start autoing battles and I'd get immediately penalized where my party just wipes instantly. Someone does like blight, whole party dies.
Light. Yeah.
Unfortunate. Got to keep active.
It's a different flavor of the once more, one more, whatever it's called in Persona. It serves mostly the same purpose, but especially with smirking, there are emergent strategies that play off of that you can't really do in Persona or really any other JRPG that I've played.
Yeah, the combat system, I love it. And there are some faults. The game is it has a lot of freedom.
Go ahead. Speak from your heart.
Okay.
Yeah, come on.
You guys probably know. I mean, let's dive into the combat. Let's get into the nitty-gritty here.
Okay,
game,
let's start talking about the combat.
Time to
I'm ready.
start talking about the combat. Okay, where to start? So,
I mean,
there's
you
so
mentioned
many layers.
smirking.
Yeah, smirking.
Do you want to start with smirking? Because I want to just say before we start talking as though we know everything that there is to know about this combat, that I'm kind of a bumbling idiot. I still don't even really know how smirking works exactly,
Yeah.
I think it's random if you get it or not when you exploit a weakness, or someone misses you have a chance to get it.
Yep. Or
And it
repelling.
gives you
Critting.
Yeah, if you repel, you can get it, and it gives you a bit of an improvement to your next turn, and that could be wasted if you use like a buffing skill or you use an item. Your smirk is going to go away. You're not going to get anything out of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know the total values. I don't know exactly how to play around it perfectly. It's a little strange.
Yep. Me neither. I don't know that stuff either. This is all speculation.
Did it increase crit rate too, or did you get crits for
Yeah, I
it? Was
think
it an
it's
automatic crit? I
increased crit
felt
rate.
like I did.
I don't think it's 100%, but
It's not.
I definitely think it's increased.
It's 100. I think it's 100%, or at least like 90 something, 95% in Apocalypse, the sequel to this game.
Okay.
They changed how smirking works a little bit in that game, but it's like, I think it's a guaranteed crit all the time in Apocalypse, but in this game it's not. But it is increased damage, increased hit rate, and increased evasion rate when you're smirking as well.
Yeah, oh my gosh, when a boss would get a smirk, it's just shut your whole turn down, dude. You're not going to hit that guy.
Especially when it's your ally, your little ally party member who buffs him up, hits him with something he drains or repels, and then he gets smirked, and then he decimates your team.
I really love those uncontrollable AI teammates.
It's good. It's good. Yeah. No. Smirking is. It's interesting. It's something that constantly changes your strategy, and it's something that you are always hoping for, but you could just never attain when you want it. But there are, your demons. You level up your demon companions that you get, and when they learn every skill that they can whisper, they can demonic whisper skills to you to learn. And that's kind of how you build your character. You also allocate stats when you level up between strength, dex, magic, agility, and luck, right? 5 stats.
Correct.
So you build your character and your team around, your weaknesses in a way. Like my guy, I built strength. What did you guys do?
I went magic.
Magic boy.
I gotta say, we built pretty much the same.
Strength boys?
I did strength.
Hell yeah,
Okay.
strength boys.
I know that was a secret. I was really curious.
Yeah,
what
I was
Michael
keeping
did.
that. I was keeping that close. Sometimes he'd call out a move or something like, "Oh, did you learn javelin rain?" And I'd go, "No, I gave that to Minotaur.
Yeah. No, I found that was really fun and interesting way to learn skills for your player, your character.
Agreed.
It was cool to sort of plan and constantly feed in moves to your demons, because then when they max their levels or whatever, when they learn all the max skills, then they give your skill a plus, which lowers the MP cost, and I think it makes it stronger too.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I'm
wasn't
not sure about that, but I would probably agree. I think that's what happens.
I hope
So
so.
you're rewarded for kind of recycling the same moves, because then it strengthens your character's moves, and I thought that was really really cool and fun way to build the
Yeah.
character.
I kept a fodder of demons that I would just keep giving moves to, that I wanted to keep leveling up, that I would never use them for, just to keep the moves leveling up for me.
Keep them in the pool.
Yeah, exactly. It was good.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to the it's a pretty complex game. You can really get in depth with how you fuse your demons and how you build your party and how you build your main character. And I think it's interesting, like your weaknesses and strengths are also never solidified because they change with your equipment. So if you find yourself fighting a boss who's like, "Hey, what's up? I have a lot of Zeo attacks," and you're weak to the lightning attacks, then you could just like, you'll probably die. You'll probably lose the boss fight, and then when you reload, you're like, "Oh shit, that guy has Zeo. I'm gonna switch to something that's resistant to Zeo.
I'm gonna change my coat,
Change,
Yep.
put on a new pair of coat."
a different color of coat.
Yeah,
I did that a
And-
decent amount, yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool because it's pretty free form. You know, you have there's no rigidity. I think you always nullify light, though.
There were
Yeah.
some late game ones that didn't,
Okay.
but for the most part, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'd really love the combat system a lot. I'll come clean right now. You know, part of the reason that I chose this game as my personal pick, Shin Megami Tensei IV, is because guess why?
Is
It's
about-
because-
Because of Isabel.
Isabeau.
Yep.
Yep. It's because
I
of
knew it.
Isabeau, the cute waifu character, Isabeau. No, it's because Shin Megami Tensei V is coming out on the Switch sometime this year, hopefully.
Oh.
What?
And you know what? Maybe that's going to be my next personal pick. Or, you know, I'm going to be pushing for that on the podcast too, because SMT5.
As the first
Yeah.
guest, I'll advocate for your cause.
Yes, good.
I'm
That's-
not gonna
that's you-
speak
getting you brownie
to,
points.
to SMT5 just yet. Although
Yeah.
I'll hold those cards to my chest for now.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see where you're coming from. It's a good setup.
Yeah,
It's a good lead-in. I think, you know, SMT5 is probably going to get more attention than
Yeah.
all the previous SMT games, and, you know, thanks to Persona 5 probably as well. So
It's
it's good to get
Give
some
it love.
experience in.
I'm hoping that that it kind of breaks out into the spotlight, just like Persona, because this is it. You know, they got all the makings for it, for the potential of a breakout into the mainstream. You know, it's on the Switch. Everyone always begs for Switch games. I don't know why, but it's on the Switch. It's like it's coming in after Persona has gained all these, you know, all these fans, and you know, maybe they're looking for they're like, oh, this game's related to Persona. They made Persona, and then they made these, and then they'll go and play Shin Megami Tensei, and they'll love it because they'll go like, holy shit, this game's way cooler and better than Persona. They'll say, for sure.
Yeah, I could see that. So one thing I was really confused about with combat, or at least I never fully understood it, was how you got initiative in the fight, especially the random, like the boss fights. Mm-hmm. Was it just completely random, or was there a hidden stat attached to it, or was it relying on agility?
Yeah,
'Cause-
I'm not sure about that, but it would change sometimes, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd be
boss
running fights all the time, and sometimes, and that would change the course of the fight potentially.
Yeah,
If you get to go first, or if they go first.
yeah. I'm
It was
not too sure
irritating.
if it's like a random dice roll or what, but yeah, I remember going into some boss fights and they would get first move and just wipe
Yep.
my guys out, and then I would reload, and then I would get the first move, and I'd be like, okay, there's a chance to win. But I don't know what it was contingent on, because it didn't seem to be a attuned to your agility stat, because it would, it would change. It would
Yeah.
change.
That's what made me just so confused by it, or that it felt like it was just random, because it was so irritating where I could get far in a fight when I go first, and then other times, yeah, just get party wiped immediately.
Yeah.
Agility and luck were kind of a little vague in their exact efficacy, what they did. Yeah, I'm right there with you, though. Same experience.
Yeah, luck. I didn't know what else it did other than increase crit rate and maybe item drops or money drops or something, but I don't know for sure. I can't confirm. I really, if I could go back in time to when we first started playing, I wish I would have built decks. I wish I would have went decks, man.
Yeah, that seemed like it would have been interesting, because it's not something you can really utilize that much in other kinds of games, like a gun build. It just sounds cool.
And this one has the cool like ammo types, and you could change.
Yeah, this game supports it like well.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's the same in Apocalypse. I think Apocalypse, from what I remember, it seems to improve pretty much every single thing that this game started. And by that logic, I'm assuming that SMT5 is going to be awesome. I'm really hoping it's going to be really good. Combat-wise, there's a lot of improvements. Fusion-wise, there's a lot of improvements. It's great.
Yeah, if there's something that I complain about and it's fixed in Apocalypse, or in fact they make something worse, I'm very curious to know. Very, very curious, because that does kind of portray the future of the series. What can we expect in SMT5? I really don't know.
You can look at like Persona, how they've improved. They've just keep improving the combat. I think it's the same with SMT. So I have high hopes for SMT5 that it's just going to be only more streamlined and fun and interactive and fast and good. Just looking at only SMT4 and Apocalypse, like those aren't even like Apocalypse almost feels like a DLC in a way. I know it's a whole separate sequel to the story. Okay, maybe it's like Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2. It just it doesn't seem like it's a whole sequel or anything, or like a mainline sequel, but it's enough of like, they improve and change things around to warrant a full release of a game rather than like a DLC chapter or something.
Okay, that's interesting.
But it's good. It's good.
Right. Whatever you say, SMT fan.
I played SMT Apocalypse way more. I think I put 100 hours into that game.
Oof.
Or maybe it was
100 hours?
Yeah, no, I was level 100 actually. Hold on. Okay, I lied.
Uh-oh.
It was only 63 hours.
Jade
but I was
lied.
level 100 on war difficulty, hard difficulty.
Similar to your actual save file on your original save file on SMT4. Around the same amount of hours. And I'm sure you had more experience. You just knew your way around better at that point, so you could reach a higher level.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good game. But yeah. Combat wise, what else should we touch on? I think we need to
I was thinking about the gun, the dex build type idea, right? There's something kind of off-putting about it initially, I think. Because you don't get the gun right away, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of I guess it's early enough in Naruto, but still,
it's a
I think
bit
it's
of
about 10 hours
letdown,
in, right?
yeah. If you don't
It
know
could
there's
be
a gun,
10 hours, yeah.
you might just build strength and go, "What's the use of this stupid dex skill? I don't need this.
Yeah.
There's no gun."
Yeah, you definitely could recover your build at that point, but in a game like this, you probably want to be at least to a degree min-maxing like your stat allocation, I think. And the weird thing with your stats in this game is you can just go over the cap on the bar in the stat screen, so I don't know why there's like a bar in the first place.
Does it keep going? That's what I had that, and I wanted to ask about that because I was concerned if I kept going past 200, was it still counting, or is it like it dilutes the effect where you're not getting as much?
That's a great question.
It probably
I have
has
no idea.
It probably has diminishing returns, I'd imagine. you know.
Yeah, you would expect that. It's just strange. There's no indication. They highlight the bar in this shimmering blue color, and it's pleasing to look at. And you go, "Ooh, I'm very powerful now."
But
And
it
you
makes
can
it
just
feel
keep putting all your
finalized.
points into it.
It makes it feel finalized with that blue bar. It's like, oh, you're done. That's how I took it.
I kept dumping all my points into my main stat. I had
I did a little bit, but I'm
almost 300 into my main stat by the end. When the cap on the bar is 200.
Hell yeah.
I went to 210, but then I did
Yeah.
agility and luck a lot, so I got those pretty high
Yeah,
up.
those are my other stats. I don't know the specifics. It's another slightly strange, obscure, obfuscated thing in the game.
Yeah.
It's not really. It doesn't handicap you too much, but yeah, especially when you think about trying to get your stats done just right at the very start of the game when things feel kind of scarce. It is a bit of a tough sell to switch up and go dex right away.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean there's you can learn gun skills from demons, but that's the only way. The only piercing or gun skills you get. The only way to do any damage with dex at that point.
But don't gun skills still build off strength to an extent? Because I remember reading them, and they said they would also scale off strength.
I think they
Or
might.
some of them do, at least.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure about that either, but
As a magic boy, I've got no clue.
it seems like whenever I'd use gun skills, it would do a lot of damage. So I assumed,
Yeah,
it probably
I had
scales
some
a
too.
little bit. Yeah. But
They've got all this gear in the game, too, and it's weird that I think we discovered late into all of our playtime that the weapons you get only affect your basic skill. Your
Yeah.
just basic attack, basic shoot. It doesn't affect your skills damage, which, there's almost no point where you're probably going to be using your regular attack or your regular shoot if you're going those builds, right? Like
Yeah.
your main character has a lot of MP compared to demons. So you can usually spare that for skills, and so you probably never will use those, and it kind of makes the equipment a little bit redundant feeling.
yeah, I could see the use for the guns because they have different ammo types, and I guess maybe weapons have different effects sometimes, like they
A
can put
little
enemies
bit.
to sleep. But other than that, there's no use. I never really basic attacked unless I was auto attacking.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That was the only use for them when I was autoing.
And going back to that MP thing, the MP surplus, you can also get app points upon leveling up. And you can buy these little apps that can give you super cool bonuses and stuff outside and inside combat, where one of them is that you recover MP as you run around, just like out in the world.
Yep.
So
Love
you
that
can
one.
just go ham on your skills and then just run around in between fights, and then you're at full MP again.
Yeah, that really once
It's
you
too
get that,
strong.
it's fairly costly for the early game. But yeah, once you get it and you can start clearing fights in like one move from your main character. You kind of just you fall on your own autopilot for a little
Yep.
bit against the basic encounters.
Definitely.
Speaking of
good.
apps, did you guys have any like specific app kind of builds you did? Because I felt like I had an app build I went for from the start.
I'm curious to hear about yours probably right away then, because I don't know
Yeah,
if I...
you go
Yeah,
first.
sure. So mine, right from the start of the game, I knew I wanted to be, scouting, recruiting a ton of demons. So I went for all those scout bonuses, like where they ask for less when you're negotiating with them to recruit them,
Oh yeah.
and you also got money, you got items from them, and I think it improved the chances of them accepting as well. One of like expert scout.
Oh yeah, and you can like, isn't there different negotiation types too? Like you can you could fundraise and ask for
Yep.
money. Right?
I didn't
Yeah,
do
yeah.
those ones, but I also did demon lingual, so you could talk to those demons who spoke in non-English
in
I
letters
suppose.
and characters and numbers and shit.
In
Yeah,
beeps.
that was an early pickup for me too, to be fair, but was definitely not going a scout build. That really
passed.
made it easier to recruit.
Yeah, Yeah, it did. I failed much less negotiations after I started getting those, especially because they
Interesting.
ask for less. So I kind of did a system where, cause when they'd ask for Maka, initially they'd ask for ridiculous sums, and then they started asking for like a couple hundred, and I'd give it to them, and then when I recruited them, I'd get like 1,000 back. So I was just remaking the money I gave them.
The Demon
Wow.
Bank.
Yeah, they give me
The
items
Demon
too.
Stock Market.
They kept giving me items, and I'd go sell them. It was a system,
Yeah.
and it worked.
That's cool. That's really interesting. Yeah, I certainly didn't do that. I probably had more of a basic app build. But at the end, what saved me is building or just spending all my app points on the fusion ceiling upgrade, your level the level cap upgrade, and that made me able to build some of the end game demons when I wasn't high enough level to do so, and that
I
really
did-
saved me at the end.
I did that at the very end too.
Yeah,
I
it's
finally
good.
went into that. I also got my demon stock all the way up.
Yeah, you guys were some fusion boys.
Yeah.
You guys were some fusion
yeah.
boys.
I spent a lot of time in the Cathedral of Shadows.
I jumped in on those. I got the fusion discounts and a lot of stock
Those
really
two.
early. That was probably my build, was just having a lot of different varied demons in my party.
Now, did you guys swap demons out in the middle of combat a lot?
Only if they died.
Yeah,
Only if they
I
died.
swapped. I swapped fairly often.
Okay. Yeah, it's
It's-
interesting
it-
because swapping only takes half a turn too. It's like not much of a punishment, really. I liked that.
Yeah, especially if that demon didn't have an available move that was really useful, or you just thought, I have somebody with a weakness on my team, but I can counter that if I just quick swap to somebody who repels or blocks that weakness. So if they try to do like a big move that covers your whole team, then it's just going to backfire on the enemy. That was a tactic I used a lot.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I really liked the fusion. I like fusions. Like looking back at SMT 3, did you guys know you can't even choose what skill to pass? What
Ugh.
skills to pass on between fusions? Isn't that
It's
messed
kind of
up?
like that in
messed up.
Persona 3 too, isn't it?
Yeah, it
Where
is, isn't it?
It's random, but you can back out.
Yeah.
And then you just select it again, and you just hope it's rolling the correct set of stuff that you want. It's just kind of an annoying, tedious thing.
Sounds
Yeah.
Is it like that, or is it straight? You just confirm it and you get random shit.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time since I tried to play that game, and I remember getting lost early on. So, I mean,
Yeah, that's
I'm kind of a
a
shitter. I'm
definite
waiting for that
improvement,
HD.
I think for these games is to let you actually manage your builds.
Yeah, that's essential. Like for any sort of strategy, and like or planning ahead. It's so fun. It can be pretty rewarding, but yeah, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to fuse and a lot of thinking, and
And
sometimes
we ain't got no time to think.
we ain't got no time to think. That's kind of the MIDFES motto, MIDFES mantra.
That's
Yeah.
our motto now.
The MIDFES mantra is ain't got time to think. Ain't got
I
no
got
time
games
to
to
think.
play.
It's a strong motto.
Yeah. The fusion thing, I just wonder, okay, we all took down our play times, we all took down our system info, our play logs. Should we start
Don't make me do it, please.
should we start
Don't make me do
revealing?
it.
Should we start opening ourselves up?
I had one more thing about the fusions I wanted to say.
Oh yeah, sure.
Just where some of the demons you're building, especially the special ones, it kind of like required a precognition to know what those specials would be building into. Because like
Yeah.
the jacks, I made a lot of the jacks. They had a couple specials: Frost Ace, what was it, King Frost?
King Frost and
What?
Black Frost.
Yep. But the first couple are magic based, like Jack
yeah,
Frost
yeah,
and
yeah.
Pyro
Yep.
Jack. They're magic. And then when you're building like Frost Ace and Black Frost and King Frost, they're all physical. So going into them, I had magic skills because they were magic types. And then these other ones, just they're all strength built, and I have nothing for them.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
a
like you
recurring
have
issue
to know.
just with demons in this game. But yeah, I guess specifically specials, because the other ones you can just do whatever, you can just not do it. But these require explicit demons, specific demons.
Exactly.
And so if you didn't, like, you would have had to fuse your own Jack Frost out of other shit to get an ideal one for that. It is a little strange.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt off. Just felt off to me.
Yeah, I agree.
It is. That's a big problem, I think, is, oh boy, the fusion. It's all linked. The fusion and combat. There's some big things that we got to bring up at some point, but I just wanted to get into fusions
Just
via.
It's a very in-depth topic for sure.
Yeah. So I wanted to get into this playtime real quick.
Yeah.
And then we'll get back into the fusions, because I'm curious about how much time you guys put into fusing.
Into just fusing, huh?
And time spent in the Cathedral of Shadows.
Time spent in the Cathedral of Shadows, and your total playtime.
Okay. I had probably the longest playtime. And I don't know about Cathedral of Shadows, but I'll out myself. I ended with...
This is... Okay, hold on. This is going to be who's going to win.
Yeah. I'm hoping.
Who's going to win?
I ended the game with a total of 82 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And my Cathedral of Shadows time was 14 hours, 47 minutes.
Ooh. Okay.
Damn.
Naughty.
Okay, so here's mine. My total playtime was 71 hours and 45 minutes. Right?
Okay.
And then my time in the Cathedral of Shadows was a mere 13 hours and 12 minutes.
A mere. Yeah, okay.
You got a stronger ratio there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. See, so I kind of went on a technicality, right?
Yeah, I'll let you win if you want that prize.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm not super happy about the amount of time I spent in the cathedral alone.
Cathedral of Shadows Master.
How about you, Jade?
All right, so we got the two virgins here spending all their time playing SMT. Then Chad Jade comes in, 44 hours of playtime.
Struggling with the game so much.
Beat the game
he's not
handily.
fusing.
Beat the game handily on stream. Usually died maybe once to bosses. Just one time. Then I killed him the next time.
Pathetic.
Then 5 hours. A measly 5 hours.
How many fusions did you do? How many fusions did you do total?
50.
50.
Yeah.
A third my time and half my fusions.
How many did you do,
Wow.
Cole? How many fusions did you
I
do?
had 106.
106. Here, yeah. I had 193.
Holy shit.
What the fuck?
I was a fusion master, I'm telling you. I
Yeah,
kept coming back.
Now, this is kind of leading in. I wanted to talk about this because I was just wondering. This is going to be kind of an interesting question. Do you guys think it's worth it to fuse that much?
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
Easy.
Okay.
I filled out my compendium so much.
Yeah, you were like a gotta catch 'em all sort of player.
Yeah. It was fun. It was fun seeing all the different types. Building all these different demons, seeing all their moves. I feel like I got a lot of strong moves early on because of that.
You're definitely rewarded for preemptively fusing and getting good skills that way. But yeah, I don't know, because I always find myself wanting to fuse, but I just never know if it's worth it. And I usually don't have a problem with beating the game, and still getting demons that I want and like and skills that I want, without having to fuse for a good chunk of my playtime.
I have been thinking about this because I don't think it's worth to fuse that much. Because the game does get... Well, there's a lot of reasons. The game does get way easy if you fuse, and if that's what you want. If that's up to you to decide on an individual level. But then there is that precognition. If it's your first blind playthrough, you don't know what's coming. You don't know what's possible. A lot of times I'd have two great demons that would go together their skills would match up perfectly, and they made something that just would not take advantage of it at all.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know what's coming. Sometimes you get a new skill that just makes old ones redundant, like that you've been using for so long. You just get one that's better, replaces maybe even 2 skills. So spending too much time at any, like tier of demons within the game, I don't think it was worth it. There's a good balance to be had, I think.
Yeah.
And it was definitely less fusing than what I did.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, Michael, because if you enjoyed the collection aspect, like, that's perfectly fine. I was just curious if, like, combat wise, what that means for a player, if it's worth it, because I felt like I did really minimal fusing, I feel, and I just didn't have a lot of difficulty with the game, and I just didn't, I'm just curious about.
You are kind of a god tier gamer.
I'm a little bit of
I think you said.
I'm a little bit of a Chad gamer. Yeah,
and you've played the game before, so you've
played
had
the
like
game.
I think you were using like a guide too when you were playing this
guide.
last one. It sounds like
He had that precognition.
I was not using. I used my photographic memory to recall instantly what every guy was weak to.
I saw
No,
you
I
pulling
didn't
up that
use a guide.
IGN guide that one time.
Did I use an IGN guide on stream?
Yeah, I sent it to you. Put it in chat.
Oh yeah, you
opened
did.
it.
Fuck,
Mhm.
I used. All right, I did use a guide. I did use
Got
a
him.
guide,
Got him.
God.
but I didn't
God.
when it really truly mattered. What was the guide even on? What was that? What was? Do you remember what?
It was just some stupid.
It was just something stupid. And I
Yeah,
said,
some
quick,
joke.
I'll send you a guide. And then I linked it right away.
Shit. Well, I didn't use a guide to beat the game and make Merkaba my little bitch at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, fusing also kind of shoots itself in the foot, I think, because I don't know if you guys ran into any enemies any boss
Yeah.
enemies. If you're too good at fusing, you get punished for it. Because certain bosses will just outright use all their turns to just kill you. And I think it also works on certain abilities too, like it'll trigger whether they're going to just kill you outright or not. But
I had that experience a few times. Yep.
I only had it once.
yeah, it's really, really strange because you're not really rewarded for being creative and building a team that can repel or drain elements, or building a team to perfectly counter a guy. You're punished for it, which is interesting. And I remember this Beelzebub, Cole. I'm sure
Oh
you
my
know.
God,
I'm sure you know
yes.
Beelzebub in the neutral route. When I first
Beelzebub.
played the game, I got the neutral route. And Beelzebub, he's fucked. He's fucked up.
Yeah,
if you build
the
a
hardest
team,
fight.
it's so hard. So when you first fight him, it's really difficult. Then I'm like, all right, time to build a team to counter him. And guess what? Then he starts his Megiddo Laon spam to kill you instantly. So you have to build a team that's like just strong enough, but still takes damage and doesn't get killed instantly. And it's really counterintuitive to what makes fusing fun.
Yeah, I don't understand that thought process at all, and it's not really clear either, because they don't, it's not like a move that just says you're winning too much. It's just a regular move that's in the game naturally. They just decide to spam it. So sometimes you see it right off the bat. I know there was a boss in the neutral, probably also the law route, where I started and I just debuffed him on the first turn, and then he immediately clears it, and then he just starts spamming almighty skills. And I was like, okay, that's just regular moves. But no, it turns out that's just what happens if you debuff him. No real indication other than once you realize it's happening over and over.
Weird. Yeah, it feels... on one hand, it's really funny because it's like they can kill you at any time. Even, just... unprompted,
They have
could
the
use,
means.
They have the means to kill you at any time that they want. But the fact that, there's no telling. There's no way to be like, hey, punishment move, ultra death burst or something like that to instantly kill. It's just a regular move. like 3 times in a row. There's no way to
Yep.
live through it because, attacks do so much damage. And it's just really weird. And I think that's what happens with Tetra Karn and Makara Karn as well. And those are the physical and magic repel skills. Because I remember fighting Merkaba and putting Tetra Karn, the physical repel. And then Merkaba used Shalt Not Resist or whatever. And it did damage to all my guys and like a big chunk of damage. And he used it over and over again. But then when it was using that same move, it was only hitting like 1 or 2 of my guys for like half the damage. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not clear. It's strange.
Yeah, I didn't have an experience quite like that, but I had one side quest boss who was for sure punishing me like that. But I just kept banging my head against the wall. I refused to change my party. And,
Yes.
I think it
Stubbornness.
was about 10 tries or so it took. And I was able to trick him. I tricked him with Tetrakarn, and he'd smash into the physical repel.
Yeah.
And then I obliterated him.
I love that. That Tetrakarn got me through like the whole, so much. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
It's
that was
interesting that it's not really like bosses will just, I don't even know. It's just funny how easy it is sometimes.
It's broken.
It's broken.
It's straight up way too strong, I think.
It's really strong. Like that guy using Occult Flash, every turn he would just use the same physical attack, even though he had been getting killed. He's killing himself. He's just killing himself.
I felt like a lot of bosses actually did that. That was something I noted a lot and I just kept abusing it because I don't care. If it's there, I'll abuse it. I had like 2 or 3 party members who had Tetrakarn, and I would swap them off so they didn't use too much MP.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something weird because it's like,
I
it
made
doesn't
builds around it.
it feels like if you know just even somewhat what you're doing, you can exploit the combat system
Yeah,
in certain ways. But then it's also like sometimes it feels like you should almost be punished for it more often, or there should be some sort of way that it's more balanced. Because
Yeah.
having guys just instantly kill you for having that is dumb as hell, for sure. But I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it would almost be better if those those repel skills were just even pricier than they are, or they weren't as accessible, or they were limited to mirrors.
Yeah.
Like the items that you could use. Because it just sounds like the game. I stopped using them so early because it was clear you just win a fight by putting that up and letting guys kill themselves. And then maybe with one fight I tried to use it at the end. Beelzebub, nope, put it up. He just kills your whole team with Almighty that bypasses it. Fuck you.
Yes.
So I don't know. They have their purpose in the game, and you're only allowed to use them when you're permitted. Very strange.
I almost think it should be it's what, Dakaja that removes buffs, right? I feel like that should be like a move they can use where it could strip off the shields too, besides just
Yeah.
buffs. Instead of
Yeah,
just
that's a
like
good idea.
annihilating you with Almighty.
Yeah, that there should be much more that they can. Yeah, it seemed like every boss had those too, which is
Late
good
game for
'cause-
sure.
Yeah, and that's something else that can get kind of out of hand, overpowered, is if you put Luster Candy and just stack it 3 times, and all your guys are just immensely strong. And same with debilitating the enemy. It's cool that they have ways to counter that, but there's no way that they're fucking stupid when it comes to the magic and physical repel skills. I don't get it. Like they can
Yeah.
react to you buffing, but not that. Like even if an enemy has a magic attack, they'll still use basic attack and it ends their turn as well. Their whole turn is over and they hit themselves. It's just like a 1-2 punch.
The best
Yeah.
is when they would use like a party melee attack, like a javelin rain or something, and they make sure to keep going and hit every single one of your party members, and then it all reflects back and just, oh man, it was great.
And then they do it next turn.
Yep.
They do it next turn too. It's almost like, a player should be controlling the bosses. No, they need to have better AI. I mean, I hope that they fix that stuff, because there should be more checks and balances for some of those overpowered abilities. Like, that is insane. It's
Yeah, if it
insane.
took like 100% of your MP or something, it might be a little more in line. I don't know.
100%.
It's too good. I swear it's too good.
I agree, it's too good, but
It's
It has
too
a
good,
place
but
in the game, but it's not it's not in the right place.
it should be maybe even just a single target.
Yeah, that too.
That would be good. Because then you'd still, get dunked. Your other guys would get bonked.
how
They'd
am I
get
supposed
bonked
to
and
break the
bashed.
game then? It's not fair.
By buffing yourself a
Or
billion times.
specific skills that smash through it that aren't almighty, like a physical
Yeah.
skill that specifically goes through that shield, or if they're it's weaker than a regular ability, but if they put up a regular shield, then you could crush it, a little brick break sort of thing.
Yeah,
I'd
they
be
did
into
that
that.
with the law boss, kind of, where they put up a shield that repels like everything.
Yep.
But is only you could break it by attacking with a specific element. So I wonder, hopefully they'll add more variety of stuff like that in SMT5. Because I mean, in Persona 5 they added new elements and stuff like that, and new interactions between elements. So I'm really hoping that SMT5 kind of expands the combat system even more.
Yeah, it's a nuanced issue, and hopefully the big brains getting all the big dollars over there have had all this time to think about it and what would be best. Yeah, there's a few different things. Just encountering regular demons, not even bosses. It's funny how easily you could just die to regular demon encounters in this game. Like every fight is a boss fight in a way, and then the boss fights are just cranked up to 11.
Yeah. When we said one false move leads to your death, that's not exclusive to boss battles. That's just any regular fight that you could get into. Like, those guys with Blight right away, if they get a
Yeah,
turn,
you were having a hell of a
Yep.
time against those guys.
that was
'cause it's
the lowest point.
oppressive.
The
The
lowest
Blight
point
boys.
of my run was probably right around the Shinjuku area when I wasn't quite coming into my own yet, and I was like, if you let those guys have a turn, you're dead. If there's two of them,
Yeah.
you're dead. There's no way.
Yeah, you have to preemptively attack everything, because if you let a guy get a turn before you, you could lose. Sometimes they'd summon reinforcements anyways, and they'd just get to go first. So, there's no counterplay to that. There's nothing you can do about it as far as I'm aware. Sometimes little tendrils would come up and grab you, inexplicably. I have no idea what that's about. And then a horde of guys would say, "What's up, fucko?" and just ambush you.
Yeah, there were a lot of
And you'd get a game over and get sent to Charon for the 100th time and say, no, let me load.
How'd
Alright,
you guys
there's-
feel about that?
there's a lot to unpack there, yeah, but
Yeah,
the
it's-
Charon thing is fucking stupid. I hate that. I really hate that there's just it's no load game thing. And you have to sit through. You should be able to load your game from your last save point
yep.
from there. But I think it wants to emulate the classic PS2 era things of getting booted out to the fucking main menu for some reason. Even though you have to sit through dialogue first, it's just stupid. It's a time waster.
Did you guys ever spend Maka on it?
Once.
Yeah, I think a couple times at the very start, never again.
Yeah, that was about.
About
I even from the
1,000
start,
total.
From the start, I didn't. I think I spent once. Other than that, I would just refuse and let myself die and
Yeah.
reload.
I mean, there's sometimes, it took a while for me early in the game to realize, I have to save between every single fight, or I might get a game over. So there were a couple times when I had made, 10 entire minutes of progress, and then I'd get wiped by some bullshit, and I'd say, please, Charon, bring me back to life. But then, that issue lessens as the game goes on.
Yeah, definitely.
Ooh. Quick segue that leads into, because, that made me, just that stupid zone made me save all the time. How much did you guys save back on that play log? I saved a total of 408 times.
I got 387 here.
I was a maniac with it.
I got 261.
261.
You're saving a lot regardless. That's quite obvious.
And
Yeah.
you know what I found easier too than talking to him and saying no? I just closed the game. I would close the game and reopen it when I lost.
Wow.
I found it for myself at least faster to just reload the entire game and load my save that way than talking to.
Telling of how fucking obnoxious
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, that's something wrong with the. That's really signals that there's something wrong.
I
with
noticed
how that unfolds.
I noticed something too when I saw you play. You get to go to that scene faster the more you visit, right? Like it starts speeding up. You don't have that long intro.
I just
kinda
push a button.
cutscene.
Push a button to skip it.
Yeah, if you press the like X or whatever, the fast dialogue button would skip the cutscene that leads into it. I don't know. I don't think it showed up every time either.
The
is the weird
first few
thing.
times for sure.
Yeah, you get some long-winded explanations as to how it works before you ignore it the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But I got caught in that loop because I started ignoring it immediately. So every single time would be that long-winded. So it just reinforced my idea of gotta close the game and reopen
Quitting.
it.
Yeah. I'm not. I like the idea of that they offer you some sort of
yeah, I agree.
reprieve. Like it's cool, and it's also a it's not free. You have to pay. You're punished by paying your precious resource Maka to get revived. But the fact that you have to just sit there and talk to this dude, like repeat his dialogue every time, confirm 2 times that you don't want to pay or you do, like it's so long-winded. And in a game as hard as this,
it's an issue just because it gets in the way of people who don't want to use it.
yeah,
You should be able to turn it off. Just say, nope, never do that.
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
never do
yeah.
that.
Just boot me to the main menu if that's what you want. Boot
This
me to the
game,
title screen.
Yeah.
for as challenging as it is, mostly fair challenge. It's almost strange. They're nice. They tell you when you're about to go up against a boss or something.
Yeah.
You have the chance to back out of a lot of fights just to save beforehand, and you still get that bullshit.
Yeah. This game, going back to the ambush and all of the reinforcement stuff, like that to me is probably the most unfair that the game gets. Otherwise, everything, even the instant kill stuff, seems more fair, more like when you just barely eke through an encounter and all of a sudden, oh, there's reinforcements and they get to go first, then you just go, okay, that's time to I might as well just close my game now.
Yeah.
Like there's that stuff, there's no way to win.
There's
You're just
no
locked in.
counterplay. You can't do anything.
Yeah, even if you have a strategy to survive and get through the battle, it's basically telling the game, being like, here's your game over, here's your that's not fair, that's not balanced to me. And the ambush, the guys that pop out randomly, you can counter those guys at least. Like if you're quick, you can strike one that's coming at you, but when you're grabbed by those traps or whatever, you're fucked. It's I don't know.
It's fucked.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Semi related. This game, it has the overworld interact with all the guys. It's not just random encounters. So they have their own little version of a Pokemon Repel. I don't think you guys mentioned that you really used it. The Estoma sword.
Yeah, fuck a stone sword.
Oh, fuck that, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I didn't use it for a long time either, but late game, especially in the neutral route, when you're going back to these low-level areas and it's just a straight-up waste of time to be entering into all these encounters, Estoma sword was nice to have, but it requires you to still get that ambush strike on the overworld enemies, right? And then it erases them if your level is higher.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It still doesn't work or help you in the event that you have those ambushes where a bunch of guys come out, because you can only hit one. So you still get stuck in battle. And if those arms grab you, you can't swing your sword.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That was just a weird way to design their way of ignoring fights that are almost exclusively a waste of time at that point in the game. I thought there should have been a better alternative.
Yeah, you hit auto.
I did a little refreshing about SMT4 Apocalypse. just to see what had been improved. And I never used it in that game, but a Stoma Sword is in Apocalypse 2, and it's in a big radius around you that instantly erases them. So that's fixed.
See, good. It's a good that they addressed that. It works on the overworld too, but it doesn't say it does. It's just free on the overworld in SMT4, which is a very good thing. But by the time I learned that, it was long after I had wished I knew about it.
Yeah.
What are your enemy encounters at? Back to the old play log. How many?
That play log?
That play log.
Let's dive right back into that. I had 2,271 encounters.
1,369.
Well, that's a surprising amount considering our, the difference in our hours.
Yeah. Real quick, I think this is just a funny one. All right.
Okay.
I want to hear successful recruitments and demon conversations.
Oh, okay.
No, I want to hear successful recruitments and failed recruitments. Actually, just those two.
That's fair. Okay. Well, I was kind of the scout master, so maybe hopefully my rates are a little bit better.
Yeah,
successful. I had 189 successful recruitments.
Okay.
And 156 failed. So, a little over.
Ooh.
A little over the 50% margin.
Holy shit.
That's
a lot of
interesting.
recruitments in general.
Yeah, I'm scoutmaster. Getting my boys.
I gotta find mine here. I didn't write it down.
That's funny because mine, I have 64 successful recruitments and then 61 failed. So it's just about half for me too.
Okay.
Holy shit. You guys are good at this game. I have 84 successful, 135 failed.
Whoa, okay. Yeah. See, that require, we should talk about those. In order to recruit demons on your team, you have to go through seemingly random prompts. The demons prompt you. They ask you a question. You get 3 choices to respond, or you have to. They demand items from you, or health, or even your demons' lives. They'll kill your demons in your party.
Yo, can I have a bite of that hairy Jack?
I want that. Yeah, Harry Jack's life.
Yeah, give me that.
Yeah, so I found it super frustrating this time around trying to. It just felt like I had a long stretch where I was just talking to these demons and just I can't tell what the fuck that they want. What do they want? And they'll have similar, demons will have the same personality type, like the old man demon. He's the old man archetype demon. And then you'll talk to a different one and you'll be like, dude, this old man, yeah, he likes beer. He likes alcohol. He wants me to throw him a bottle of booze. And then the other one will be like, hey, fucking kiddo, I don't drink. I'm going to kill you. It's it's almost a meme to me how every time I'd look through the prompts, it would be like,
how can they turn this on me and kill me?
How can they turn this into a reason to kill me? Is how I would look at every prompt, and then the one that just seemed the least likely that they would go, hey, you fucko, you're dead meat. Like the one where they're like, hey, over here, dig. And then the 3 options, the 3 options are just dig, dig, dig. And then you go, okay, the last dig. And then they go, that's your grave. And then they start hitting you. It's just so funny how there's no consistency with those. It feels like you have to, for certain demons, you really have to just try and choose every option between multiple encounters with that demon. And hope that they ask the same questions. Trial and error or lucking out. Sometimes it'll be the exact opposite where a demon will prompt you to do something. Like the dig one, for example. The one demon was like, hey, dig. And then I chose a dig option. And then he was like, oh, there's nothing there. I feel bad for you. I'm going to join your team. He instantly joined my team. That was it.
It's weird.
It's really weird. I feel like Persona 5, the conversation seemed, a little more consistent, the demon negotiation, which they brought back for the Persona series, from SMT, which is cool. But I'm really hoping, hoping they keep ironing that shit out for the next game. And they did improve some of that in Apocalypse as well. The negotiations. If demons leave, if they leave a negotiation, they'll come back with like memory of the previous negotiation that you tried to do.
Oh, okay.
So if they're like, I'm out of here, or if they're like, see ya, you'll run into them again, and they'll be like, hey, what's up? And
You again.
you'll have a better chance.
Thanks for all those
that-
items you gave me.
Yeah, that's the
I'm
funniest.
sure my
too.
failed conversations speak for themselves, but yeah, fuck scouting and recruitment and talking to demons just in general because of how random it is. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Yeah,
I don't remember too much of it from Persona 5. I don't think I really cared for it in that game that much, but I didn't hate it as much as I do in this game.
yeah, because it's a lot better implemented. I feel in that game.
Yeah,
I agree.
exactly.
But it's less funny.
it's
those
less
are-
funny.
I guess
the
if you-
first times through is so funny. All the creative ways they come up with, like to twist and turn what you say to kill you. I don't know. I was losing it over that. It was hilarious.
In
Yeah.
a certain light, it is, but yeah, I guess giving up items and then they say, thanks, see you later, after like 10 successful things that you did, and they still, like, it doesn't matter how well you do. They just have a mind of their own.
Well, some of them, if you just say yes to everything, they don't like that either. So if you give
They
them
don't like
everything
that,
they want,
yeah.
they go, all right, oh, I got a ton of stuff. See ya. And then
Yeah.
others, you just got to say no to them sometimes. That was kind of the
You gotta
balance
cheat.
I
Yeah,
struck.
I started to do that too, but it ultimately never felt like there was a real strategy, which I think is a good thing, because if you knew exactly how to manipulate the demons, it would be too easy, right? But the level of randomness and the shit that they could do and get away with was just obnoxious.
Yeah, and it wasn't like consistent either. It wouldn't be like, okay, it's the question phase, and now it's the donation phase, and then that is dependent on if you get the demon or not. Like it was like sometimes he would start off like, hey, let's just cut to the chase. Give me 1,200 Maka and I'll be your guy. Or sometimes it would be like, I want that, and then I want soul gem or whatever the fuck, life gem. Like it was just, I don't know.
Hey, what do you think I want? Item. No, you idiot, I don't want item, but I'll take an item.
Oh God,
Bye
I had
bye.
that so much. That one
Yeah,
was frustrating.
It's really weird. I really like the idea of negotiations, of demon negotiation to get them on your team, but this one, it certainly felt just too randomized and not fun. It wasn't fun to negotiate with them. They should have more negotiation skills, kind of like the fundraiser and stuff that, like I think there was that was in a Persona, right? You'd have like a
Yeah.
second chance if you fucked up a negotiation, or have like a
I believe that the Sun Arcana had a lot
best
of
one.
skills devoted to conversations with demons in that game.
And
Yep.
in Royal, I know you boys don't have this experience, but
in Persona Crimson, Persona 5 Crimson.
yeah, in Crimson, my mistake. In Crimson, as you level up the team and level up their social bonds, if you fail a negotiation with a certain type of demon, usually their Arcana, they'll step in and fix it and give you another shot to get it right,
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's cool. There should be more of that.
or just win it for you right there.
Yeah. This one's just too random, and you could get a game over pretty easily from that too, from answering the prompt incorrectly, and then they go, time to die, and they ambush you.
Yeah. It's important to mention, if you fail a negotiation and they just say nope, see ya, or stick around, you'll lose your turn, and then they'll just kill you.
Yeah, they'll that's the ridiculous thing, is that if you fail and they go time to die, you lose the rest of your turn and they get to go. It's like it's just too much of a punishment for the easy recruitment. Like recruiting shouldn't be that punishing.
And even if they just leave the battle, you lose half. You lose half your turns.
Yep. Yeah. It's nasty. It's nasty. It's mean.
Yeah,
That's
they're
kind of
evil.
one of the reasons I didn't want to negotiate too much. I would almost get into a kill frenzy where I'd just get into new battles, instantly kill them in one turn, and I would just forget that negotiation was even a thing.
I forgot this in my app build too. This was part of the Scout app build, where there was one for recruitments. When you would scout a demon and it was successful, they'd ask another demon who, if like you were still fighting multiple demons, they would ask that other demon if they wanted to join with them. So you could get like a 2-for-1.
Wow, that's
And that
cool.
would double the rewards too. So I'd get money from that one. I get an item from that one.
Wow, hell yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty dope. That's
Yeah.
like, that's an interesting build. I'm glad that they had the app thing. Like, I really liked that. Those were some hard decisions, picking what apps to go on. Like, you had the
Especially early
skill,
on.
the MP decrease on your guys, the skill MP decrease on your demons, and the walking
Skills.
around regain. Yeah, there's a lot.
Skill slots.
Skill slots for
You
you
start
and
with
your
what?
demons.
Five or four, I think it was. That's what you get initially.
I think you get 4, and then your
Yeah.
basic attack. I'm pretty sure. Maybe not.
Those are very important too to get early on because you want to be getting as many skills as possible.
Yep. You're just wasting. Oh, and you can. There was also that stat increase. The demons get an extra stat point every time they level up in whatever stat.
Yep.
Like, that seemed so important to get early on. Like, just
you
the
gotta
reward.
build for
Like,
that.
it's good.
I
didn't
got
get
those
that one.
ones.
I
Hard.
did.
The stat increases, but you know, those seem more beneficial if you keep a demon for a long time, which is a little counterintuitive based on the fusion system and how they did all that. So
Yeah.
mixed bag with those.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting your skills definitely top priority. I agree. Skill slots.
Skill slots. Now what?
Let's see.
Anything else about combat and fusions and stuff?
I assume we're not gonna go into demons just yet. Our demon choices or some of our favorites,
Yeah, maybe we might as well. I mean, we might as well, honestly. Right?
like our end game demons. 'Cause, I had some cool end game demons that I was real happy with.
Are you happy with your demon choices? Huh? I mean, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Really? What kind of
Yeah.
demons you packing, Mr. Michael?
Well, I as the fusion master, right?
Yeah,
The
the fusion master
the
bring
fusion
to the,
farmer.
bring to the party.
I saw some of you guys might have had a few similar ones, but I had the legend, the one and only Metatron. He was built. He's strong as hell, resistant to everything, drains physical. He's a machine. And then I had Yong Long, and then I had as a backup to my main girl Alice. She was a long-term one.
Yes.
She was the only one I kept for a very long time. She easily probably my favorite demon in the game.
So you had Alice in your end game
Yep.
party.
That's
Wow.
a great lineup.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Alice was there, and then as a substitute, I had Ongyo Ki. And
Yeah.
and then the rest, there was a few. There was Norn, Maya, Lakshmi. They were all just kind of, after a battle, they would just heal up the party if they needed to, or heal any poisons. They were just the support line. But those were my main crew, and I was
You're
very
mostly
happy. I was
A
very happy with
special
them.
fusion user, huh?
Yeah, I had and a build I had for a while too. On a lot of them was an energy drain. I don't know if you guys played around with that a lot,
Yeah.
but I loved that energy drain. I wish I could. I tried to use it on the main character, and I wasn't building magic, so it didn't have quite the effect. Unfortunately,
Scales
So I
of
saw
magic,
that.
I'm pretty sure.
It does. So I had to get rid of it. But
I'm a big advocate for that skill too, so yeah.
yeah. I had Alice had that. Ton of my
Yes,
best ones.
dude, yes.
It was good
I
stuff.
respect that Alice use, because she's like a level 49 demon, and at the end of the game, you're like pushing 80.
Yeah, she got to 75 at the end of the game, I believe.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
She
cool.
was good. She was good. Debilitate, die for me.
all the classic Alice skills that I think that we had very similar Alice.
Yeah.
I had mine at the end of the game too.
Hell
What?
yeah.
You also had yours in your endgame
brother.
party?
Brother Cole.
I wasn't actively using mine,
okay.
but she was there and had all those same skills that Michael mentioned, but probably one or two were different.
Chad Jade missing out on
Fucking
Alice.
fused Alice away. Goodbye,
Yeah, that
Alice.
was a mistake.
I'm not a simp. You know,
Because you only
I'm not
get
gonna
the
simp
true
for,
ending in your own heart if you have Alice with you.
if you guys, if Alice, I mean, I like Alice. I think she's like one of the top. She's a top demon, sure, but she's not my favorite. Not my favorite demon.
Maybe in that game for me. I don't know about overall though.
Well, what was your favorite demon, Jade?
Didn't make him this time, but Trumpeter is probably my favorite. My favorite demon.
Oh yeah, and we
Oh,
don't even know. I never saw him.
Yeah, me neither.
In this
I didn't
game.
see any of the death like Pale Rider or Knight whatever.
That's true.
I didn't see
Pale
any
Rider.
of those guys.
I had Pale Rider on my back line. Fusion
Yeah.
fodder.
Usually like Pale Rider and all the other death like skelly boys make Trumpeter as a special fusion. I'm pretty sure. But
That sounds right. Yeah, I didn't see any of them in my game.
yeah, me neither. But I really like Trumpeter. He's cool. But
Yeah, what were your guys' demons looking like? What were your squads?
I didn't feel as connected to my party at the end here. They just kind of were tools. They were just tools for me to win.
I mean, the
'cause you
game
didn't have
kind of
Alice.
presents them as tools anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
This isn't a Pokemon feel good session.
Yeah. Yeah, I had Metatron too. I had Lakshmi and Huang Long. And Huang Long was kind of a letdown because he didn't do anything in the last battle. He was just a turn passer. He just passed his turn. But
Yeah. Those
he
demons
got me
with
through
the
a lot of
average
the early
stats.
battles.
Those demons that have the average stats, they usually didn't come out doing too much very
Yeah.
often in my experience.
Yep. Yeah, you have to have those focused like magic or strength built demons to like really focus on. But yeah, that was like an issue with Metatron too. Was he was a strength guy, and none of the guys that I fused to make him had any strength abilities. So I was like, okay, I'll just give you the mana gain and make you like a support guy. You're just
He doesn't learn any.
yeah, he
That's
doesn't
the
learn.
weirdest thing.
That's yeah. What's up with that?
I ended up somehow luckily with since I fused my Hyung Long into him, where he still had a heavy gun attack with charge and gun panorama.
Oh yeah, I guess I had.
So-
I didn't have charge, but I had the gun thing too.
That was the only thing physically I had going for him, so I made it work.
Hell yeah. Yeah, they were very efficient team, but I didn't have any of my favorites at the end of this game, and that's okay. Huang Long's cool. I don't really, it's time to come clean. I'm not a big Metatron guy.
I'm not either. I didn't even make him.
Yeah, he's kind of like he's strong and that's it.
No,
I don't
no.
like him. I don't like his robot. He's a robot. Like fuck him. Fuck
He's an
Metatron.
angel, and
you.
he's law. You're chaos.
Yeah, why
it's
is he
just
even
not-
with me? Why is he with me?
Because he
I'm
knows
not really a
it's a
match.
just cause.
Does he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it would have been interesting if you couldn't even like fuse or use demons of the opposing alignment.
Yeah,
But
you couldn't
that probably
recruit
would have been
demons of
fucked
the
up.
opposing alignment. That's cool.
I never had that issue, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But I did
It's
see that
interesting.
for you.
Mm-hmm.
Cole.
How about you, Cole?
Well,
Yes.
my demons were
A bit different.
Huang Long I also used. Yeah, my demons are a bit different. I always mistakenly call him Koryu because I think him and the members of that Su Ling group, they have different names in the Persona series. That's a weird thing between these games, is they don't always keep the same features and names and distinctions that they do between other games in the series.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did about the same thing that anyone else's does. Is he's just kind of a backup support guy. I had Fafnir, just kind of a last minute fusion that ended up being so clutch. He was really cool too, big robot dragon guy.
Ah, yes.
A good robot.
A good robot, very cool. I liked Fafnir a lot. So it's strange. I didn't have a lot of. He didn't have a lot of history. He just came out of that monochrome forest is where I got his materials straight up. And then last I had my girl. I had Lilith.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
She was one of my longest. I think she might have had the biggest history of my demons that I can recall.
That's cool.
Not particularly powerful, but had some cool skills like doping. I like to use doping. I like to use weird strategies.
Yeah.
Everybody has draconic. Got to have that draconic reaction on everyone.
That was good.
Yeah, that was my big. That was my big three. I'd say. I still had Alice.
Did you have a number on that fusion history? How long it was?
I think I'm pretty sure Lilith might have had my highest history, and it had 62 total guys
62.
if I count duplicates.
Whew, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Break it out for us,
Fusion Master. Once again. So my boy, Robot Metatron, right?
Bad robot. Yeah.
He got the last two, the ones I fused for him. They had my longest history separately, both of them. So he ended up with a whopping 125 fused demons coursing through his veins.
Wow. The power of hundreds of demons.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes multiples of the same. There was an instance of at least 4 Beastmans.
Wow.
I don't know how they got there, but there were 4 of them in him.
Yeah, I had 3 sylphs in my Lilith because of those element guys could do some wacky shit when you fused with them.
Yeah, they were weird. I had a couple of them, but I didn't focus on them too much.
Yeah, the history is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything you wanted to share from yours, Jade?
Yeah.
I mean, my guy was only like 40 something demons deep, 42, I think, Metatron. But yeah, he's got the earliest demons that I had. They're used. Harry Jack is in there. You know, he's
The boy.
all these guys. Alice's corpse is he ate Alice and processed her into divine holy energy.
Dissolved her into his
Dissolved.
Die for me is just part of his basic attack now.
Yeah.
He's so powerful.
Yeah, so like the early like Pixie, one of my first demons. She's in there, so yeah, his blood runs pretty deep. But other than that, everyone else is pretty fresh demons.
I had an average of like 50 to 60 for a lot of my guys in my party, interestingly enough. And it sucks that at some point a lot of that the history is cool to look at, where you've come from, all the stuff that went into making it. Just a shame that you only have 8 skill slots, so a lot of that history probably is just lost. Like some of these guys I had completely different than how they started.
Yeah, it's that's one of the things I think we even talked about in our Persona ep, our Persona pilot. Damn, 8 skill slots just still doesn't feel like enough because there's a lot of those passive skills.
Yeah.
And it's just really hard.
A lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of passive skills, and you can't pass them to your main guy for some reason. But your demons can just be stacked with these passive skills, and then all of a sudden you're torn between making a choice of. There's a lot of hard choices to make when you're fusing in this game. That I was often that's probably most of my fuse time was just sitting there like, what the fuck am I gonna give to these
those
guys?
13 hours didn't come from just anywhere. That was just sitting there going back and forth. The mental anguish, which skill to pick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
summoning the same guys back from the compendium, fusing them into multiple different things.
Yep.
And then another one just so you could have it still.
Yeah. It was a ruthless cycle, sitting there in that cathedral of shadows endlessly.
Yeah.
It's a whole game of itself.
Yeah, fusion is like the cornerstone of this game, demon fusion of this whole series, and it's really really cool. But it's just funny, how what we were talking about earlier. Like, when do you draw the line? How much do you fuse? What is required? It's a balancing act. It's really tough. It's tough.
Yeah. I mean, if you think there's a line, I think that there's got to be a healthy balance somewhere, and that I happen to cross it.
You're unhealthy, unhealthily balanced.
Unhealthy. I mean, yeah, I had fun filling out the compendium. That's always one of my favorite things to do. But there also wasn't as much incentive in this game as there is in something like other monster games like Pokemon. Those are more fulfilling. You can't even look at a roster of all the demons you've seen unless you buy that app that lets you analyze demons.
Yeah.
That was a late discovery for me, but there's no way to check what you haven't gotten yet, what's missing. So, there wasn't a lot of compulsion there for me.
Never bought that.
In SMT4 Apocalypse, when you're looking at a demon, you can tell whether you have it or not in your compendium, which is cool.
That's nice.
That's a nice addition. God, yeah, there's a shitload of demons in this game, too. I can only imagine for Apocalypse. There's hundreds of them. There's too many.
Yeah, there's too many demons. Yeah, there's a lot. There's way too many demons.
It's kind of overwhelming when you enter a new area and then there's a fresh set of new demons.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I was in just kill mode. I just wanted experience. I wanted good, meaty chunks of experience that it would just be charge and then use Javelin Rain and then instantly kill them all. Charge, use Hades Blast, and then just, it was just faster. Yep. Or do I want to...
You could get away with that, too.
Yeah.
There was no real need.
Do I want to negotiate, and a demon will go, hey, are you hungry? And I'd say, no. And then he'd go, I'm going to eat you. If you're not hungry, then I'm going to eat you. Okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to fail 60 negotiations, or am I going to kill them in 5 seconds? You know what I mean?
Fail 60. That's what I'd do.
No, kill.
And then go to the next area, and there's a guy who would have just made all of his skills irrelevant because it's just the same shit, but better.
Yeah.
Or it would have been a demon that you had worked your ass off to fuse, and you didn't really have to because it's going to end up as fodder anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I had those experiences, and that was what really made me question how much time I was spending in the cathedral, which was the first half of the game is probably where most of that is concentrated.
Yeah.
I almost feel like I was in there longer in the second half because there was just it felt like all of my best demons that I didn't want to fuse away had the most combos to make for new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I just would go, do I want to trade this? Nope, I don't want to fuse this. Nope. And then I'd get back out and then wait and then look at another one. And then once I got one new demon, I'd go right back into the into the cathedral and look again. Like, ooh, what does he fuse with? Anything cool?
You're addicted.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I did that. I did that a lot too.
It was a bad habit, honestly.
I guess, yeah, I do that every time I leveled up, but not when I get new demons usually.
I would just fuse anything that looked cool too. I wouldn't even care if it was strong. If it looked cool or had a theme to it, I'd try to match their skills to whatever the demon seemed thematically appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
There's a whole metagame within this shit.
That's something really cool, actually, that I forgot about in Apocalypse, is that demons will have certain affinities. Like fire demons their fire attacks will do more damage and they'll cost less MP.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, cool. And then Bufu and ice things will cost more MP to use and will be weaker. Oh my
god, that's so cool.
It was really cool. Yeah, it was a cool addition. I really liked that.
Wow. Yeah, okay, that's cool. I really like to hear about that.
I'm into that.
Because it did feel like a waste sometimes that I'd be like, oh, but this guy, he's just like a wind guy, but there's no I don't need wind or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but I'd want to keep it on him anyway just because it made sense for him, even if I'd never use it.
So how did you guys feel about Maka scarcity? I always felt like I had to be very cautious how I spent my Maka. And it was always coming in, even with my Fusion Scout money, It always came in little amounts, and I was always scanning every body armor or any piece of armor if I really needed it or not. So what do you guys feel about that?
Maka, money. Yeah, this is one of those few games where I think money like mattered, like single player games. You know,
Yeah.
I always back in the day, I remember always thinking. I think Zelda was one of my first game series where I was like, the money in this game doesn't matter, and you know, it always stuck out to me. And now I think about it. You know, a lot of games, you just have this massive surplus at the end. You can buy anything you want.
Yeah.
But in this game, there's always a use for it, and you can choose to spend it however you want, and you'll always be able to use more, even though you don't really need it. The balance, I really like the balance of Maka in this game. That's a strength for sure.
Yeah, I think the balance is real good. Like, it's something that you're constantly striving for. You're never, I mean, you're going to run out of Maka. You're going to run. But you're never going to run out of things to use, you know, to buy or things that you need. Like, I was saving up I didn't spend a lot of Maka throughout the whole game. Right at the end, I spent it all on like 3 fusions. It was gone.
Yeah, they're pricey.
And like, yeah, it's pricey. And then that's like, I had like mid-game equipment. You know, I was like it's just interesting. It's interesting balancing your Maka in that game.
And the only seemingly way for me to have any high amount of Maka was just grinding endlessly the relics.
Yeah, relics were a good way to get money. I didn't know exactly how they worked, and most of my money near the end of the game came from selling every single item, like all the
that too.
chakra pots and stuff that you had stored up. I just sold them all.
Yeah. Items, you know, that's another thing to touch on. Items, just useless. I almost never used any.
They certainly had their place, you know.
I found
JRPG.
myself using them.
Yeah, they had a place, but, you know, I just felt like
I think
there was...
we're just the kinds of people who don't use consumables if we don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Or
I guess I only really used mine on like the last stretch of the game.
Yeah.
You know, there's the amount of time that I opened chests and it was like, you are full of this item, and I was turned away. It was innumerable.
You know, it's that symptom of where you build up these items and you go, I don't want to use it just in case I need it later. And then you never use it, and then the game ends.
Incense.
Yeah. Well, incense, I use those right away, to be fair. Those are the ones I like.
Those have a more immediate use, but I remember thinking, they said, oh, they restore HP and MP. I'll save that for a rainy day. And then the game was over.
Yeah. Yeah. See,
10-point cards.
those are good.
10-point cards? Nope. You eat those up.
You save those till the end of the game, rainy day.
Yeah.
I really liked how things were balanced in this game, Maka, and consumable wise. Like, you know, it was pretty frustrating and annoying to have that limit on like my good items, but I think it's cool that you couldn't carry around like 99 or whatever. Like, you know, you had a limited stock. They made sure that you had a limited stock of like the overpowered, like the fully heal your party's HP and MP. You can only have 2 of those at a time.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that's cool.
Yeah. You know, it is frustrating, but there's a reason for it, and I find that to be justifiable.
Mm-hmm. And the Maka too is good. It's well balanced. You know, looking for relics and selling items is your main income, and I guess some side quests give you a good amount too. But
Yeah, there's a handful.
Yeah, I skipped a lot of side quests in this playthrough, so I wasn't getting any of that surplus of equipment or items or anything from those.
The only place I found Maka to be kind of annoying was there's this special area in Ginza where it's got a high and very high entry fee. You know, talking over 100,000 Maka just to get in there, and then it's got all these lovely armor pieces, weapons, you know, all the works, and then they each cost like 300, 400, some even 500,000 Maka.
Yeah,
Which just feels unattainable.
Oh, yeah, let's see. There might be something for total money in the game in the play log, right?
There is, yes. I had some of those.
total earnings 426,000 Maka for me.
Oh, yeah, so that's enough for like one armor piece with all the money you had in the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
I got 1,170,000 Maka.
I had 1.87 million total earnings.
High roller.
Damn.
Yeah, I really did just sell, those chakra pots and the beads, bead chains, all of that. I just sold all of it, and that some of those are worth 10K a pop.
I was hesitant to sell those. I sold some of the summon stones.
Oh yeah, those two sold those.
Those were 10K.
There's an end game skill that just was that.
Yeah. Mako was just did you buy many of those high end armor pieces, or
I
use it
ended
for
up
other
getting
things?
2 armor pieces from that shop. But yeah, it all the spending done in the compendium, that's where most of my money went. There just wasn't room, and there honestly wasn't too much need for that end game equipment, and
It's just nice though. But at least
just
the
nice to
body
not
piece.
look like a clown, I guess.
Yeah, a body piece. I feel I got the Demonica one that had
Same.
no weaknesses.
I got that one too.
Yep, seemed like the best choice.
I was wearing that other. You get a Demonica in the story earlier on too that is
Oh yeah,
fairly resistant all around her, and that's what I wore all game until I bought that fancy one at the end.
Demonica boy.
It never changed it, even though I looked like an asshole.
They're cool. They were cool looking though. I liked them.
Well, with that, I think we should rip the Band-Aid off. Talk about the story and maybe some alignment stuff and how everything kind of unfolds.
Sure.
You guys in for that? We all cool with that?
I guess we can talk about the story. I guess.
Yeah.
All right. I want to preface this. For me, I'm usually a story guy. I'm usually really involved in the stories and atmosphere and stuff of a game. This game, I don't really give a shit about the story at all. I just really love the atmosphere.
It's
Like,
good.
when I think about SMT4, I forget, like, all the story beats. Like, I mean, the story is pretty bare bones. It's really rickety. There's not a whole lot going on. Especially once you get to Tokyo, There's really cool world building and stuff like that. But I almost attribute that to the atmosphere rather than, like, the story, what's unfolding in the main story. But I really love, like, how depressing and oppressive it is, and just everything is just, like, it's, like, beaten, worn down. The music's fucking cool. It's got all these heavy, thick, like, synths going and, like, super deep bassy cool shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really love just the setting and atmosphere a lot. I think everything is really well done with setting it up. I'll never forget the first time I played the game and opened, like, and started my first save file. And you have that scene. Okay, fuck the one with the whites. Initially, it was, like, really weird. They're like, you're floating in space right in the beginning, and they're like, oh, like, making
strange.
weird noises. Yeah, it was, like,
Yeah.
weird. But then when you're hanging out with Issachar on the lake,
Yeah.
and it has this, like, you talk to Issachar, and then the camera, like, zooms way the fuck out, and it, like, goes up to the city, and there's that really crazy weird song that's like boom, gong, 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 and, like, has all these droning, fucked up, like, dissonant sounds. I was like, this game is gonna be something else. Like, it just set me up for. It was really cool, and that's when I knew SMT4 was gonna be special. So the story. I mean, obviously we're gonna talk about it, but I just really love specifically the atmosphere and everything a lot, and I think it does some really cool things.
Yeah, you mentioned a few times all of the ambient noise, the music tracks, some of the things people say throughout your playthrough. It just hit you again a second time on your second playthrough, just how impressed you were.
It's good.
I also really enjoy the bait and switch. Did you guys get fooled by that at all?
Yeah, I got fooled a little bit. I had some very the game is not all that subtle about it, unfortunately, because it gives strong hints about like before you even go to Tokyo, right?
Yeah.
Where it's talking about, like Earth culture thing, like just there's that manga that Isabeau has that it
Oh, yeah.
mentions, and it says like, oh, the fictional kingdom of France.
Yeah. No,
I'm
I
like,
specifically mean gameplay.
oh, gameplay. Oh,
Like
okay.
when
I
you
think that's
start out
right.
the game, you are in the Eastern Kingdom of Mikado, and
Yes.
everything is menu based,
Mm.
which was really weird. Like the exploration was menu based. You'd go like, oh, I want to go to the outer quarter of the city, and you'd select it on the menu, and you'd just be like there.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
and then in the dungeon crawling portion, you were running around 3D. Your guy was like a character. You were running around in the field, and I was like, oh, is this going to be like a Persona 3 portable where like all the exploration is done through menus and then the dungeon crawling portion is in third person? Like I didn't know. And it was on 3DS, so I was thinking like that's what it would be like.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get down to Tokyo and it's like, holy shit, I'm running around these whole big areas like and there's a fucked up bad world map.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
like that threw me for like I was not expecting to be able like I thought that it was going to be a menu based like game.
Then yes, that part of it did catch me off guard. I didn't expect it to turn into that where you just have the whole city essentially to kind of wander around and go into areas like that. That was a cool surprise because menu based was I wasn't digging that. I wasn't digging
It was
that at
pretty
first.
stale.
Yeah.
It's pretty stale. And how about you, Cole?
Well, I mean, it's no secret to you, Jade, I'm sure, when you originally loaned me the game many years ago, that I did get as far as Tokyo, a little ways in before I put the game down. So I don't recall how I felt back then. So unfortunately, I already knew about it this time going into it.
Yeah.
I wasn't fooled. And just in general, I'm not a fan of bait and switch. They put me off a lot.
Oh, just like in general.
Just
Okay.
in general, I think that's been a thing where if a game bait and switches me, I don't like it, and I hate the start of this game a lot. So once you get to Tokyo, that's when the game starts for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tutorial.
It is a
The-
tutorial.
The boss to get into Tokyo, the two bosses are really big checks for, to making sure that you've learned the mechanics. Like Medusa and to the Minotaur are just total noob killers.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like, yeah, up to then it's like a tutorial. The game's kind of holding your hand. It's still pretty hard, but there's no huge boss fights.
Excessively hard.
Yeah,
I would
right
argue.
in the beginning. Yeah, the beginning is probably the hardest part when you just don't
Yeah.
have anything. You don't have any demons to your name. You don't have any skills to
You're
your
just now learning. You're doing your first negotiations, and even though it never makes sense, it especially makes the least sense at the start for obvious reasons. And you are just getting killed in one turn after doing nothing wrong. You have no options for demons. You can't really fuse very much. You have no money. Yeah, it's fucked up. So yeah, I guess there's a few reasons why those first bosses are hard, but they do test your core knowledge, which is the good thing.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not. They have weaknesses. Not a lot of bosses in the later game have any weaknesses, but at least these ones, you can develop strategies. They're not impossible.
yeah. That's I like that. I'm into that.
It's good.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So-
it was challenging, but not. It just checked your skills, but it wasn't impossible to do
Yeah.
or be prepared for already.
So the whole premise of the story is you are essentially your character is just like a casualry, they're called. They're like lower tier citizens, like peasants basically. You live in some like backwoods city town. But every year there's like some kind of rite held to see if you can become a prestigious member of society called a samurai who is tasked with this like holy task of defending the kingdom. And you and your boy Issachar go, and you pass the rite, you pass the gauntlet rite, and you become a samurai. and you go into this dungeon called Naraku where demons come out. They're like, you're protecting demons, or you're protecting the city from demons, coming up from this hole. There's a lot of little hints about it, but eventually you discover that this hole leads down into the city of Tokyo, which has been overrun by demons, and there's a huge dome placed over Tokyo, and that's where you have been living your whole life.
It's on the top of this dome.
On the top of the dome, yeah. So there's like a whole underground city with people living there the whole time, and there's a lot of different. You're hunting down a specific person who's been leaving forbidden knowledge and kind of like turning people into demons.
The Black Samurai.
The Black Samurai, and your story kind of develops from there as you basically your character becomes the sole decider. He gets to decide what happens to these two places, basically.
He becomes as gods.
He can become as gods, yeah.
Yeah, the true Messiah, the great Messiah.
Yeah. So that's the gist of the story. There's I really liked how should the pacing's kind of weird. The pacing of the story is pretty weird, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fucked up map. The map.
Thank God.
Yes.
Thank God you said it.
Yeah, it's there's almost nothing to be said other than it's probably the worst like overworld map in a game ever. I think.
I think
I can't think of a worse map than that one.
It's
fun. Isn't that weird?
It's difficult. It's annoying. It's hard to navigate. And, the worst part too that just adds on top of that is when you go out of combat or enter an area, the camera will just move around and put you in a different direction. Or
it'll reset the camera. Yeah. Like if you're running around and then you get into battle, it'll reset it to a certain point.
It's like it's just intentionally fucking with you.
Yeah, and the map, like the way it's rendered on your screen is like very featureless. Like you can't tell what areas you can walk on or what. There's like roads and stuff that you're supposed to, that's like the paths, but you can't tell which ones are blocked or anything unless you go there. And then you just have to make a mental note, like, because you can't tell on the map. You have to just be like, okay, this is a dead end, I guess, or whatever. And
the best you get on the touch screen is a small indicator of the exact like district. There's a bunch of little mini districts all over. No dots. Clear boundaries or anything. You can't check the map freely without risking a demon coming up and interrupting you.
Yep, that's great too. Love that part.
I had a lot of issues with that. I didn't. Yeah, there's no way to check it in a pause menu. You have to just look like while you're standing there in the open.
Yeah, I think the pacing of this game is very fucked up, and it's probably because of that.
Mm-hmm. I think so too.
I thought it was my fault. Eventually, because I was getting lost so much that's why the pacing felt so off, like 3/4 through the game.
I think it's not uncommon to be lost. It's certainly not uncommon to get lost in that game.
Oh, I got lost multiple times. And they give you so much freedom once you get down to Tokyo, too. Mm-hmm. It's like the main story just kind of, that essentially becomes a side task. Where you're like, ooh, what's over here? You just go exploring, checking out Tokyo.
Checking out all the districts. There's a lot of like little side areas you can go into, and it's really distracting and just memorize. And there's like, it's got that thing where it's like, oh, this thing will lead you all the way over here. It's like a tunnel that leads you to some other place, like a fucking Mario warp pipe, and you're just like, how is this connected?
It's a great way to describe it.
And it's like, how is it connected? You don't know how it's connected. There's no indication for it. You just you pop out somewhere else on the map, and you're like, okay, I'll have to make a mental note of that.
It would be a lot easier if there was another way to know the name of a place you're about to enter to without standing directly on top of it, like only some of the time. And so NPCs will frequently direct you or tell you about stuff that you could find or where to go. But you can't really you just have to remember where it is, and it could have been from a long time ago. Maybe you've never even been there.
The map is just really
It's the worst part of the game.
it's
Undoubtedly
it is
for me.
certainly, yeah, it's the worst part of the game. And I know SMT3 had a similar thing where you're this little pleeped on the map.
Yeah.
And you walk around. From what little I played that game, though, it didn't seem nearly as confusing as this one.
I think,
I think
all of the mainline SMT games are like that. I've dabbled in the first Shin Megami Tensei game, if you can believe it, and you are the same thing, but the roads are very clear in that game, if I recall.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate. That's the thing, kind of. It's almost why it's kind of hard to recommend this game, because I totally understand the map being a huge put off, and I can't even I can't offer up a defense. There's nothing defensible about the map except the song. The overworld song is the overworld song is the only good thing about the map.
It was pretty good.
I like it. But otherwise everything else is like, there's just gets me mad just thinking about it. It's
difficult,
it's like
confusing. Ugh.
open palm game design with a closed fist maze on top of it. Like, because there's guides, you want to go over this way? I'll take you down the river or whatever. And there's tunnels that lead all over the place. You can't get to certain places without like going
Arbitrary roadblocks all over.
Yeah.
You want to get over there?
Yeah. You want to go over that way? 500 Maka. Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't know. I hate the map so much, but yeah, so I don't know if it's like the story to me wasn't even really that engaging. You're just hunting the Black Samurai. There's some cool moments for sure, but up
when
until
you
like,
say it, I feel a little validated, because usually it's like, if you don't like a story, you're stepping on someone's toes. Because someone really, really engages with that story. It really means a lot to them. But, I'm
like
with you that this one,
I think it started out strong. I was pretty besides the weird white gods or whatever they were talking to you right at the very start, I thought the like little dream sequences with like Walter and Jonathan, I thought those were cool. And,
that's
really
been a
cryptic.
staple too in all the SMT.
Oh,
like,
really?
you always meet up with like the two representatives of those roots in like a dream. It's really, I like that. It's really cool.
I thought it was a cool touch. I just thought they were cryptic and just kind of interesting. Like, where's this leading to? Like, why do we all have these dreams?
Yeah, I liked
and then the ending.
The
ending kind of picked up again.
Yeah. That's the other thing, is once you are nailed down into your route, things get cool. But like, everything in the middle is really just not engaging.
I thought when you activate that certain device and go, once you get to those new areas, I thought that was really cool. I thought that for me, that's when it picked up again. Was that whole stretch there?
That was good. Yeah.
But between that,
getting down to Tokyo the first time was cool. The initial sort of world building in Mikado was cool, and then just the ending stretch.
Yeah.
But everything like when I replayed it, I forgot all about like the Ring of Gaia thing with Yuriko or whatever. Not Yuriko. Koga?
Koga, yes.
Is that her? Yeah.
Yes.
And she gets eaten by that one demon. Like, I forgot all that stuff. I forgot, like, there's a lot of things that just didn't stick out. When I reflected back on the game, I thought of like Blasted Tokyo, Infernal Tokyo, stuff like that.
Those are cool. Those are really cool.
Seeing what the world would become.
Yeah, just that middle, the whole hunt for the Black Samurai, then Yuriko, and then blah 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 blah. That was, I don't know. It was just all pretty stale. It didn't really.
It takes a large portion of the game time up in the middle, and it's just like a really simple objective.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is it's just find this person. That's like the whole game.
There was one. Oh.
No, that's it.
There was one gap that re-brought some intrigue for me, where it's, I think, Kagome Tower, where they sent Hugo or Gabby sends you to the tower there, and you have to get these 3 individuals and bring them back. And it's like,
Yeah.
who are those? Who are those people? Why are we saving them?
And
This
the
is just
tower
weird.
is so fucked up and weird.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was real. I loved. It was just
Yeah,
so
it's-
different.
Sticks out.
Yeah, Kagome Tower I remember that place pretty well too.
That was a spike in intrigue. Whereas I just want to know what those people were and why were like these strange masked individuals.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
There's some cool things the story does, but I think overall it's just, pretty, it's a pass, it's a mid story. It's not that good.
That's fair.
But I really liked the characters. I love Walter. I love Isabeau, and Jonathan's there. He's around.
He's a good foil. He's a good foil to them.
Yeah, I know it's really dumb. It's really stupid, but ever since like the beginning, and it's so minor, but just the beginning when you're hanging out with them when you're first become a samurai together, like I just really liked all their banter. I liked just becoming bros, eating bread together, eating bread with my boys up on the roof. Bread boys up on the roof. Like I was just like, these guys are cool, man. I really like.
That's a new quest. Eat breakfast.
Yeah,
And
let's get
Navarre.
breakfast.
Oh, Navarre was cool.
Navarre, yeah, he's one of my. He's there.
I wish he was more in it. They don't ever talk about him. You see some side stuff if you talk to some people in Mikado, where you get to learn what happened to him. But
What did happen to him? Actually, I don't know.
after that, like really early on incident where he tried to he tried to do that sick prank on
He tried to prank you to death. Yeah.
you and Walter. He kind of lost it, and then his family and some Hugo or someone higher up in the monastery had him pulled out, and then his family donated like a large sum of maca to the monastery, and they let him out and they discharged him. And that was and then it kind of ended there. He went insane, couldn't handle it, and then his family paid a ton of money and he left.
Oh yeah,
Cool that they addressed that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I did like that. It was a good touch. I was hoping they would.
things that improve in SMT 4 Apocalypse. The map. The map actually shows you where to go. It shows a waypoint of your next quest, shows you important demons, shows you guys who have new dialogue, and it's more navigatable.
Thank
Is that a
God.
word? Is navigatable a word?
Navigable.
Navigable. And it's more navigable.
Can't even picture that. No way.
Yeah,
The second-
I'm having a hard time picturing it too, but it sounds fucking awesome.
The second improvement, Navarre is in it. More. He's in it way more.
I don't actually like Navarre. That sounds bad.
Yeah,
He's
it's
in so
dumb.
little of it. He's just meant to be an asshole. So
Yeah, he sucks.
There's I'm a little mini review of Apocalypse here from me, Jade.
Who?
The vibe and story of Apocalypse. The story's it's paced a lot better. There's more things going on that are interesting, I think, than in the OG in 4, but it's got a lot of stupid fucking anime tropes in it. And that really makes me sad because this game doesn't really have much of those.
anime mind mush.
It's got it's fucking mind mush material, and it reminds me a lot of Persona, and I really hope that they don't do that in SMT5. You make a big party of buds. Pff, fuck that game. Everything else is good. Apocalypse is good. That's my little review. But yeah, like it's so funny. There's just so many moments in the game where like Burroughs just pops up
Oh my God. Yeah.
Burroughs
and something
so
heavy,
annoying.
something heavy just happens, and then she goes, "Congratulations on completing the quest," or looks like the quest is going well.
And then she changes it sometimes later, like, this may be a little early, but great job on completing the quest.
Yeah,
And then your
it's
demons are
funny.
like, "Oh, I learned a new skill," and you're still like
Oh, God,
whiplash from the crazy thing that just happened, and you're like having
Yeah.
to choose all your shit.
It's really funny. That's another funny pacing thing where it's just like, okay, we're having a heavy moment, and then Burroughs will pop in like Chipper and just say, "Looks like the quest is going well. You just killed your friends. You just killed all your friends.
The quest is
Yeah.
going well.
Yeah.
All those times when you kill all your friends and Burrows ruins it.
Yeah. I want to just ruminate in it, and just reflect. But Burroughs, she takes me out of it.
Quest complete. Great job.
Yeah, I thought that was just kind of a video gamey thing until you pointed it out, and then I couldn't unsee it.
Yeah. It's funny. How about should we just get into alignments?
I mean, there's like nothing happens after the start to
Yeah.
that point. There were there's interesting reveals. The whole Black Samurai and Gabby, those are the two interesting reveals before you are locked in, since you are making choices throughout the whole game, which again is a Shin Megami Tensei mainline staple, if I'm not mistaken, is choices towards the side of law or the side of chaos.
Yeah.
I don't know. In hindsight, I don't like those choices because they're, in a sense, they're nothing choices. They don't affect anything.
Yeah.
Besides this hidden alignment mechanic where it secretly adds and deducts points or whatever.
Yeah.
But on the actual surface level, if you pick something else, it changes like a line of dialogue, but it doesn't affect anything in the immediate moment.
Very true, yeah.
Yeah, you can look at one of the very first choices of the game, and have that be a good example of how menial, of how just stupid and meaningless the choices are, other than allocating points for your stat. When you are up, it's your turn for the gauntlet, right? What do? Extend your arm for the guy, or just don't extend your arm? Like, there's no fucking reason to not extend your arm to the guy, but giving the guy your arm is such a lawful good thing of a person to do. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's really strange. Like, there's so many choices like that I don't know. They're just ridiculous.
And they become more obvious too.
Yeah, they definitely do become more obvious, and I think the bigger choices definitely give you like more points or whatever. But I think like just the fact, for me personally, I don't think you should be able to be like, I'm choosing neutral path. Like, you shouldn't be able to just choose. I think it should be something that you kind of that's
towards
an evaluation. Yeah, it's like you have to be evaluated for it. I think neutral shouldn't be as hard to attain, that's for sure. But I don't think that you should be like, I'm going to pick neutral path, or whatever. Because it's just like, it's like real life. Are you chaos? Are you chaotic? Only you don't choose like, I'm going to be lawful or whatever. It's like, it's just how you react to the world and how you react to things that happen to you.
With more nuanced choices too, rather than blatant. Like, do you want to just do a normal human thing, or do you want to be do something crazy that makes literal zero sense?
Yeah. Like the woman that you talk to, and I think Ikebukuro, when she's like, I've been living my life and I'm sick of it. And I decided that the next person that I see, if it's a human, I'll continue living, but if it's a demon, I want to die. And then you have the choice to be like, and she'll go like, who are you? And then you'll be like, I am a human, or I am a demon.
It's so dumb.
And like, if it's so stupid that's like a choice that affects your alignment for one thing, and also just in the context of the game. Like, if you're so far gone that you're going to basically let someone choose if you want to live or die, it's just such a stupid, like, forced choice. It's just silly, and it's heavy-handed writing for sure.
And that's just random, right? You walk into a room and it's just suddenly this nameless person is there that gives you the choice.
Yeah. I liked a lot of the side dialogue that characters said, for the most part. Like, there's some really cool world building and stuff if you go out of your way to like read just what the NPCs say, that I think like the world of this game is really, really cool in my opinion.
Yeah, I found a lot of that interesting. I tried to come back to Mikado every now and then and see if stuff refreshed, if people there had new stuff to say. And I found that interesting, just talking to the people in Tokyo. I bet they probably refreshed dialogue too.
I think so, after certain events, yeah.
But Yeah, I didn't keep track of them as much.
Yeah.
But it was still really interesting just to hear all these people talk about their experiences or just like events going on in the world. There's like, oh, my friend died here, or
Yeah.
it was cool.
It's fucked up. And like learning about this economy of those pills that demons
Oh
eat
yeah,
and
the
like
red, yeah.
like everything is really it's interesting. It's an interesting balance that the game holds, like with how demons haven't just killed every single human already, as it seems like they should be able to. But
Yeah, yeah. There's that cool moral quandary that is presented to you, but they don't have a. It's not like a great resolution to any of it that you can choose. Every choice you end up getting in this game is just fucked to one degree or another.
Yeah. There is a middle ground in one way. But
I don't know. I don't know if the middle ground is any less fucked in some ways because sometimes it seemed like they wanted you to be indecisive to the point of apathy.
yeah, I remember thinking that too. I remember just jumping. There's a couple things I want to say about just jumping to the resolution of the game. I remember being really let down with the neutral ending. It felt really weak.
really,
Yeah, I'd say
But
that
this,
too.
I felt like the chaos ending that I got chaos. I felt that was like, it felt a lot more fleshed out or fulfilled a little bit more, than the neutral ending did for sure. But
I was into the law ending, but it just felt like there was still a lot of plot threads that just
yeah,
weren't, that just were left unfinished that I just never got to know about things.
I think but yeah, going back, the problem with these games is like alignment is pushed to the extreme of each law and chaos, like for some reason. If the alignments were more nuanced, like for like real law and chaos is, alignment wise, it can be so much better. I just the fact that chaos is like, if you're weak, you fucking die, and law is like, you lack all free will. Like those are the two in SMT, and it's weak as hell. Like
Yeah.
law should be operating for the greater good of the people, and chaos should be like, I'm doing shit for myself. Like it's not. It's
Yeah,
it's really
you might
dumb.
have NPCs that touch on that, but the main story and some of the main plots really push that excessively. There is
Yeah.
no middle ground without, just kind of the neutral ending, and that's it.
The fact that a world, you in the chaos route, you and Walter are like, we're gonna make a world where the strong can do what they want, where the strong can live how they please. How are we gonna do this, you ask? We're gonna release demons all in the whole world, a whole world full of demons.
They're gonna kill
Good
everybody.
idea. Like
Yeah.
it's survival of the fittest doesn't necessarily like create a world where the strong can do what they want. It's like, it's just really weird. It's moral stuff that I hope they get more nuanced, man.
Well, then, yeah.
It's really heavy-handed.
And then law is just, we're just gonna kill everyone who's unclean. We're just gonna nuke them. Who cares? Who gives a
Did they
shit?
nuke Tokyo?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the law. And
They nuke Tokyo.
you act. It's almost like the what's the white ending?
Okay.
It's
yeah.
almost like that where you set off the Yamato reactor and then you just nuke, except not nuking the whole universe. You just nuke Tokyo. You just
Okay.
nuke Tokyo and then everyone in Mikado lives happy.
God said so.
Oh,
End
and
of
you
game.
you die. Don't forget that.
You die?
Oh, you die?
Yep, Merkaba is like, well, we both been tainted by filth too. We've come in contact with filth, so you stand right there, and Merkaba activates it while you're standing there, and then you both die.
What?
And then, but they
That's
build,
ridiculous.
but they tear down the King Akula's statue, and then they put a statue of you up.
Well, yeah. There's an interesting theme that's not really explored in any other ending, but the neutral one of reincarnation, where
I had
There-
theories of that. I thought,
yeah,
that was
there
the thing.
it's brought up. It's brought up multiple times, but there's some cool shit with that. Cole, you wanna?
Can I mention something that before you guys go to just some of my theories? Because I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
I had strong, because mine doesn't touch on that at all. They don't say anything, but just things I picked up. Like there was this really, like blasted and infernal Tokyos. They're kind of seen as like, I guess like if you went down Law or Order, right?
Yeah.
But some of the stuff they say, there was a random NPC in Inferno where I went into a room and it was one of the nourishers, one of the humans that feed the demons who have taken over. And they were just saying like, what if I hadn't pushed the button in the Yamato reactor? Whoa. And they like directly mentioned pushing that, and I was like, huh, like is that supposed to be like an alternate version of the character or something? Or
damn,
there was just this interesting like this clearly this character, this random NPC was linked to it somehow.
Yeah.
And then also when I beat the game, I redid the intro. And I saw one of those flashbacks, and it was with Walter, and he just said something along the lines. He probably says it in the first run too, but I just didn't notice it. And he was like, "Are you gonna pick my side this time?"
Ooh.
Yeah, I remember hearing that too when I started the game.
And I was like, "This time, like, oh, maybe there is some like maybe not, I didn't think reincarnation, I guess per se, but like a time loop type thing."
Yeah,
where that works in like cycles.
Blasted and infernal sections. Yeah, that whole thing with Akira, and then and Jonathan even specifically is like, that would make you King Akira.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That's that too. That was
more obvious. I guess I don't fully grasp what that is supposed to exactly mean, but it's interesting.
Yeah, there was
and something I picked up, and I've been thinking about this. I don't understand it. Maybe you guys can help me. There are NPCs. Everybody mentions 25 years is the date.
Yes.
25 years since that dome was put up over Tokyo. And, it's modern day Tokyo. They still have all this stuff running. There are people who remember when it was put up. But Mikado is ancient.
Yeah.
There's the whole world is up there, and no one knows anything. Like, what is up with that?
Yeah, it's God's children, dude. They live simply.
But like, what's with the time difference?
I'm so
over 1,000 years have passed up there. There have been generations of people, and it's still the same generation underground.
Yeah, and they mentioned the cocoon, and I thought those were like the kids or the people who got taken to Mikado. Yeah, that was my idea. Or maybe those are the chosen ones, the kids who were picked by the gauntlet, and they're taken by the cocoon and placed in like a family or an orphanage or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm guessing that they almost live in like a blissful, ignorant loop according to God's will. This sort of
like
thing.
Like a time loop on above in Mikado?
I think, obviously they haven't lived for 1,000 years, right? Like,
I mean, they said King Aquila had been there over 1,000 years before.
Yeah, the statue.
Generations had come since then.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that those aren't real memories, right?
Oh, they're like fake.
I guess it could be that. I didn't consider that. I thought, so my thing with the King Akira in Blasted Tokyo was like, maybe that's the start of this weird cycle where he got the name Eastern Kingdom of Mikado from the player's party.
Yeah.
From you. And then he takes that because he's like, I'm going to name my kingdom the Eastern Kingdom of Mikado. Yeah. And then that like started that cycle. And then somehow, I'm a little iffy on the details, but somehow it loops back around.
It gets a little confusing because then you still have Tokyo in its actual, condition that it is underground, and not this separation of this dome and what I believe is cited as nuclear warheads, which makes me think it's like a reference to an earlier SMT game.
Oh, was it nuclear? I thought it was still always seen as God's fury.
I feel like people say the dome was erected, and maybe this is in the neutral ending that they say it. I thought it was Skins and Fujiwara mentioned, the dome was put up 25 years ago to stop missile fire from hitting Tokyo.
Oh, I don't remember ever seeing that.
There's a lot of interesting details, and I can't really make out the exact plot of the story outside of just the theming.
I think a lot of that stuff is open to interpretation for sure. I don't think there's anything definitive, but I think it's
Yeah.
enough. Uh, there's enough little clues and little hints and stuff to sort of put together your own theory.
It's
and have
more
some
interesting
evidence.
that way too. I think in this game, you know, I'm not one to be replaying games, but this game I think has that replay value with the different endings. The hundreds of demons, you can definitely make a totally different party and build, and you can pick up on this shit as you go with each playthrough. You know, it seems
Yeah.
really well catered to that.
Yeah, I can't understate how much fun I had with the chaos route. Honestly, like I thought it was just, I think chaos is badass. Chaos is cool as hell. Like just the conceptually, I wish that it was a little more nuanced for sure, other than just like let demons kill everyone who sucks, let all the demons kill all the weak guys. That's fucking stupid. But I think the power to do things, having the power of yourself be what's pushing you forward is cool. And
Yeah.
I liked, I just really liked how it developed, you know? I it broke my heart, man. Killing Isabeau fucking hurt.
Right
That
there with
shit-
you. I
Yeah.
did that too.
That looked painful.
For one thing though, that was like one of the coolest fights in the game because I didn't want to kill her and just Isabeau. Just Isabeau. You know,
She's innocent. She's by your side, bro.
yeah, she's
She-
the neutral party member. Like she's the neutral one, but she wants to fight you. She fights for her beliefs, and she's ultimately weaker. It's what chaos represents.
She
And
even
I
cries
guess Law
out.
too, huh?
Yeah. She cries out she wanted to be by your side forever.
So
as you
why
fight
is she fighting you in the law? Like,
Because
is
you're
the
going to
law
genocide Tokyo.
Okay, so the law thing is like, let's destroy Tokyo. Like
Yep.
that? Okay.
Yeah, you're just going to blow up the city, essentially.
Okay.
Cleanse it.
So that's the same. That's like the fucking same thing where it's like, you go, I want to preserve the status quo. I want things to stay the same. And then Jonathan's like, let's fucking blow the shit out of Tokyo.
I know
And
how
you're
to
like,
keep
that's
things
not what I
the same.
meant.
Kill everyone else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Essentially, just, kill everyone in Tokyo. They're unclean, filth. Everyone in Mikado's who has... Oh, they also purge Mikado of people who have dissident thought. Oh, don't forget about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, that's really fucking harsh. Like chaos seemed pretty good.
There's
Chaos
actually...
seemed like
Yeah, you just devour anyone who can't stick up for themselves, and sticking up
Well,
for anyone else probably makes you weak too. In
just
that
the
ending.
fact that my character, the main boy, is alive and allowed to become.
true.
He's like can become the king, and he gets to have hot demon Lucifer as his GF.
Yeah, if all you care about is yourself, which in chaos is probably
Yeah.
correct, then
Yep.
yeah, it's the best ending.
It was interesting in the law path because you get to keep hanging around Mikado because you're on their side. There's tons of people who talk about others being purged or following this the new leaders, and they've all had dreams about the leaders and how righteous they are essentially. But they also cleared all of Mikado of the demons. Like there's no more demons in the Kiki Georgie forest. Mm-hmm. And in the initial floors of Naraku, past Minotaur, there are demons, but before that, there's none. It's all clear. It's all cleared
Whoa.
out.
Wow.
And I thought that was kind of a cool touch. Like they really did just cleanse the demons out of there.
Yeah.
Crazy. God's power is magnificent.
But with Isabeau, back to that fight, there was
Fuck
a few
God.
there was a few different there was a few different dialogue options that I thought were interesting compared to the chaos of killing her.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where you had the same one on the second one where you could like point your blade at her,
Oh yes.
but the other one was just like stare at her coldly, I think. Mm-hmm. But one of mine was like reach out your hand to like try and get her to join you, or like
Whoa.
offer her to join you. And of course I did that, and it's just a debuff
Yeah.
because she goes, "No, I wouldn't want to join someone who lacks the will to go through with their choices." I was like, "Fuck."
That's what's kind of cool is I don't know. Like no, it's bad actually. Never mind. Law is like, you rely on the law in SMT is like just God, just blindly follow
it's just
God.
God. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It
There's
kind
nothing
of
else.
sucks because law can be so much better than that, and God is always a fucking piece of shit in JRPGs and also in real life. Gods suck in real life,
So
all of
true.
them, and like I just want there to be more nuance in this stuff, man.
I agree.
Can't
'Cause
be overstated.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not. I wasn't for the destruction, the cleansing of Tokyo.
Yeah,
I just wish there was more like, oh, we're just gonna destroy the tower, or something like that would be more
Yeah.
nuanced. Just get rid of the whole tower that leads to Mikado, so no one can get
disconnect
up.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like that would make sense. A little bit more reasonable. But just nuke them.
and kill yourself too because you're
Yep.
also
Dirty.
filth.
I came in contact. I had a glance with the filth, so I must be destroyed. But at least
Yeah.
Merkaba destroyed themselves too. So
Even when you're choosing which of your friends to go with after you were initially introduced to Lilith and then the angels, it's like neither of those two seem very reasonable. Neither Jonathan or Walter. They're both. Well, Walter seems a little more reasonable, but then he says, "Yep, let's unleash all of demons into the world." And then it's like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about,
This
dude?
is just the world I've been waiting for.
That's fucked
I'm like,
up.
what are you talking about, Walter, dude?
yeah, I was a fisherman, but
It's a bit of a jump.
Yeah.
time to unleash the demons and kill everybody.
So you wait, Michael, you went with Walter,
I did.
and you still got Law.
Yeah, I went with him on the first choice because I thought that was my split. I wanted to go neutral. That was my goal.
Yeah.
So I was trying to split up my time. Stick with both parents, and it didn't work out. It didn't work out. I went with Walter. I did his little bidding, and then I was sucked up to Jonathan. Nice to him, and it just went to his side. It just ended up on his dumbass side. I mean, good law side.
His lawful
God's
side.
side.
I was in God's good graces.
Yeah, that sucks. It should be easier to get to neutral,
Yeah,
I think, because it's the canon ending. Even
Yeah, I figured as much.
it's SMT 4 Apocalypse takes place. It does admit that it's like an alternate reality from what happened in SMT 4, but it takes place like while the neutral route is going on.
That's
Like it
frustrating.
happens while like I think Walter and Jonathan are both dead, and it's Flynn and Isabeau. They're alive. I think it's when like everyone is heralding you or Flynn as like the hero of like he completed all the quests. He's like well known in Tokyo.
Okay.
When Apocalypse takes place.
So yeah, it's just canon. It's just the canon.
It's pretty
route.
much canon, yeah.
God, and you know what's kind of interesting? If I hadn't gone into the game with the knowledge that there was in fact a neutral route, and to that it might be worth it to try and go for it, I might not even have known because I don't
Yeah.
think it ever really, explicitly states anything relating to
Yeah.
neutral. It's like law chaos. Those are your options.
Yeah, the
There's
cover
this
art is like,
super secret, super secret neutral ending.
the cover art is demonic Walter on one side, or holy Jonathan on the other side.
Yep.
There's always the black and white iconography throughout the whole, just the graphic design of the whole game. There's never any gray. Isabeau's never shown. It's really super focused around law and chaos for sure, and it's weird.
Yeah, I remember looking for Isabeau during the choice of companion too, and because that seemed like she'll be level-headed, but you can't do that.
Well,
Yeah.
you can
So
talk to her. You can talk.
Yeah, you can talk to her, but
just
she
goes.
you know,
"I haven't
she
made
doesn't
up my
have any-
mind."
She has no opinion, and that's neutral throughout the game. Is like if you almost all the choices are law or chaos, and if there's a neutral one, it's like you just don't say anything or you have no
Don't know.
opinion. You have no backbone,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
kind of annoying.
How are you gonna save the world? I don't know.
It's just being indecisive throughout the whole game.
Yeah,
to
that's
somehow reach it.
very strange because your character does kind of have a say in the matter at the end of the day. When you go neutral, you don't just sit back and let everyone fight it out.
Yeah.
And so you guys know how Yeah, once you go through Blasted and Infernal Tokyo. That's where the real branching point is when you meet the
Yeah, I know
whites.
that. I know that now.
It's after it's in the forest or whatever, right?
Yeah, when they talk to you, and then you
Yeah.
go, and then you click nope, reject the Great Messiah, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Then you'll get set on the path there, and I went for it the whole time. So I did. I actually chose because I had been siding with Jonathan and a lot of the stuff. So I was like, well, I should go. I went with Walter. I clicked his initially, and so it put me into the White Forest. And Walter was there, but I didn't know, that was already too late. So I went through the whole White Forest, did all that, woke up in the Counter Demon base or wherever, or no, it was in Yamato. And Walter's there, and then that's where blah blah blah, Lucifer. I was like, fuck, reloaded my save, and because I was like, oh, maybe hit the other option.
Yeah.
So and then I hit law, and then it's just the same thing. I just went down law path, but I went into the Blasted Tokyo as neutral, and that's where I think it's fucked up. Like the one place you can check it, you can go to the bar, and there's a cynical man who sits there, and you can do an alignment check there, and he'll be like, "Oh, you look like a rather indecisive man. That's rare in Tokyo."
Yeah.
And that's neutral. And so I did all that, and I was neutral after I picked Walter to go with and side with him initially. And somehow I lost it between there, and picking either side would still have me fucked and locked into whichever side. So I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's, certain choices have more weight on what you do, or on what points you get towards what. So I think that since you were in the middle, you must have just
I was so perfectly in the middle.
You must have been so perfectly in the middle that the choice that was either black or white was going to set you down the corresponding path.
It's that like narrow.
I'd assume
God,
so.
that's
Fuck.
I mean,
that's
I read
so
something
annoying.
about it being like, I don't know how the choices are weighted, but I think there's like, what was it? It's like -7 or +7 points. Like you have a 14 point range of neutral, and then everything else is like, and I think that last choice is like 10 points or something like that.
God damn it! I must have just been on the cusp of
Too
either side.
neutral to get neutral because they don't give you a neutral choice at the end. Wow.
God
Too
damn
neutral to
it!
get
Yeah,
Wow, that's infuriating.
I really want to do neutral, and it feels from what I know about you, like your game time, Cole, is that there's flat out just more content in the neutral.
It's not good though. Is the thing.
It's side
You-
quests.
But
You want to know
still.
what neutral ending is?
Yeah, I guess it would be
is-
time now to know.
Neutral ending essentially is you are told to revive the goddess of Tokyo, and in order to do that, you want to revive Masakado, who is a guardian deity for Tokyo. He's the big rock in Ginza.
Oh,
He's that giant boulder.
Okay.
And he's like, we need to get the great spirit of hope. Guess how you do that? You become the champion of Tokyo. Guess how you do that? Do every side quest in the whole game.
Oh my god.
And so that's the majority of neutral ending, and definitely why I was stuck in it for so long, because I couldn't find the last random ass side quests that were just
one?
tucked away to take picture. The last one I ever found was sitting in Tokyo Station in a random room. Some lady was like, I need a picture of this thing.
Oh, I remember doing that. Where
Yep.
you go to, what is it?
I think it was a
Shibuya?
picture in Ginza.
Oh, was it in Ginza? Yeah, I remember doing the picture in Shibuya. I think there was one there. Yeah, and then there's one in Ginza.
Ikebukuro.
Yep.
Yeah. Either way, it took me somewhere between 5 and 10 hours just to find that, because I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. I
Gotta
thought
check
I did
every
every
room.
quest, and no, that was all it was. And then you just go to both the Law and Chaos dungeons, do those, and then Masakado lifts the dome, and that's it.
Oh, so you get the dome lifted over Tokyo. Okay.
Yeah, everyone from Mikado emigrates to Tokyo. They're all like, "We're good guys. Good thing no one died except Jonathan and Walter."
Did all the demons go away, or they're still hanging out?
You kill the demon lord. you kill Merkaba.
But I mean, are the
I
regular
think
demons still
regular
on the streets?
demons, I believe, are still wandering around. That's you don't do too much other than just kill your boys,
Okay.
Yeah.
and then combine everybody into one area, and that's it.
Mm.
And they're like, "Good job, dude."
Hell yeah.
I honestly, when I killed Lucifer, like, because it's pretty clear, you're like, oh, you're going through a law dungeon, and then you kill Merkaba, and then you go through the chaos dungeon and you kill Lucifer, and I'm like, okay, here comes the third dungeon, the final thing to tie it all together. That's like difficult, and it's like, a combination of everything. And nope, you go back to Cafe Florida, and the game just ends. And
Really?
I
What?
couldn't believe it.
That's so
Yeah.
lame. Holy shit.
I could not believe Lucifer was the last boss, because it just was, I don't know. Yeah, it was.
I
Jay
totally
mentioned
would've
quite a
expected
while
a
ago
third
that
dungeon,
it was
too.
a letdown. Yeah, that's how the credits hit, and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I remember the credits hitting. You see like the goddess of Tokyo on the beach or something like that, and she's like, "Well
Yeah.
done," and that's
And
it.
it's Burroughs' voice.
Oh
That's
yeah,
it. What?
it was
Yep.
just so ridiculous.
That isn't. You think that's explained? It's not really explained. Another kind of interpretive thing is it's the little girl you see throughout the game.
I was gonna ask what's up with Steven?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a staple in SMT. Like
Okay.
he's always like jumping through timelines and saying weird shit.
I
in every
yeah.
SMT
He
game.
just kind of
understand
directs
that.
you towards that goal and nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess the goddess of Tokyo is Burroughs in some capacity, and that's kind of, that it's just kind of hinted at in that regard, and that's it. It's
And
not a
it's-
definitive thing.
It's like
Yeah.
assumed she was like the counter demon force, like AI or something, because when you first enter there, she goes, "Ooh, this place looks really familiar, but I can't pinpoint why."
Yeah, yeah.
So something
have
from
to
the demon
just-
force.
Neutral ending, yeah, it's hard to get. And another thing that got me stuck for a long time, part of this game's weird pacing and all the weird shit where you don't know where to go. There are barriers preventing you from going into either dungeon once you hit the neutral ending. So like as soon as I come in, Isabel greets you. She's she's the neutral party member.
I figured. Yeah.
So she joins you, yeah. And Walter and Jonathan are nowhere to be seen. They end up just being the bosses. So my first instinct, my gut reaction, because Isabeau doesn't really know what to do or where to go.
You give her a
but she-
kiss. You're like,
I
my
give her a
first
kiss.
instinct, give her
I
a
give
big
her a kiss
smooch.
because I don't want her to die.
Yeah.
And she mentions Naruku and how there are demons, or there's angels there. So I went there, and there's a big barrier there. And you walk up to it, and she says, "Oh man, if only we could get past this barrier. Do you have a demon in your party that could do that?" And so for hours, I was like, who the fuck could I fuse that would open this? And I'm like, Lilith is the only thing I can think of. So I started running around forever trying to figure out how to fuse her. And that is not at all what you are supposed to do. I
was
wasted so
Metatron.
much time. It's not, no, it's just a story event. You have to go
Yeah.
get Masakato and do
Yeah,
all
Masakato.
that. It has nothing to do with actually fusing your own demon.
But that's so misleading. That could I could
It
easily
was
see
misleading
how
enough that it wasted a lot of my time. And that was my theme in neutral, is I didn't know what exactly to do, and I wasted a
God.
lot of time.
I'm so fucking glad that that's not a thing in these games to need a specific demon to do something. That would be so
well, I'm glad to
ridiculous.
know now after the fact that that's how it was, but
Yeah. Damn. That's awful.
yeah.
still it's as someone who's with just neutral in general, someone who's interested in potentially playing SMT for Apocalypse, right? It kind of sucks knowing that the basis of that game is the neutral ending,
Yeah.
because it feels
is-
it feels like I miss, like, even if it's kind of lame or something, you're just missing that entry point. That
Yeah, there
builds
was
into
there
it.
was decisions you were supposed to make to fully appreciate what the game's intended ending was.
Yeah.
And it was vague too.
very vague.
We did our cyberpunk episode, and a similar feeling from me for missing what was, it wasn't a true ending, but I missed out on an ending in that game, and I think we share that similar feeling there.
Fuck Cyberpunk, that's all I gotta say. But
Yeah, fuck cyberpunk, but fuck
All I gotta
neutral
say
ending.
is fuck God.
yeah,
I'm still sticking with that.
that's a good side to be on.
That's a good line from Chad Jade.
Oh yeah, and you don't know who Lucifer is. You don't know
Yeah.
that that's that Hikaru girl in the neutral ending. I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
crazy.
I must have
Weird
got
stuff.
it from my stint because I knew it, but I couldn't figure out why. Somehow I remembered that she was Lucifer, but it must have just been my brief stint on the chaos route,
even
and then
in
I
neutral.
swapped back.
That's like a loose plot thread that I was confused about in neutral ending is because she just disappears, even though she was so weird and like something's up with her all
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that, she's with Fujiwara and Skins, the humans. She's like telling you to go talk to these dudes and whatever.
That would almost lead you to think there's something up with them.
Yeah, but
because she associates
they're just
with
good
them.
boys. They're just
Yeah.
good boys.
Apparently, I only got to talk to him once.
Yeah. Yeah, they're,
They seem nice
they're
enough.
featured in Apocalypse.
They seem nice enough, I guess.
Yeah.
Too bad they got decimated when the nukes went off in Tokyo and I genocided it.
I'll say something else about Apocalypse. It's not, the alignment thing isn't as rigid in that game, which is interesting. The endings, I think, are a little more, they're not true like chaos or law, you know what I mean? They're a little more nuanced, but not, it's interesting. That's all I'll say.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, without
I'd
giving
give a
away too much.
recommendation. If I could go back and play the game again, I would definitely choose a different ending. That's all
Okay.
I'll say.
Interesting.
It's good. It's good. Anyway, does anyone have any other things?
You know, a weird thing. Maybe this is touched up in the neutral route too. Do you ever go back to? Do you ever see like Blasted or Infernal Tokyo again? Is that a thing? There's no way to get back.
No.
Because it just felt so weird, especially in Infernal Tokyo. When I was exploring there, you do you help out, kill you kill King, what was it, King Kenji?
Yeah.
Kill King Kenji, and you help Akira take over, essentially. But there's these weird barriers in the other cities where they have like a guard there. You can load into the area and see it, and then it goes, "Oh, you can't come here," and then you just get
what
shoot
the
away.
hell was it? And there's items back there. I
Yeah.
was like, this has to be like if you don't come back here for neutral, then you have to come back here in like one of the endings. I thought that's what those
That's
worlds
what I
would
thought
be,
too.
But very interesting that you don't return
I think
for
they
any
just
reason.
copy pasted like the area and then
Yeah, I
added a
guess
filter
so.
over it and
They must have.
put fire and stuff around
A
it.
little
It seems
wall there.
easier to just remove the entry point to those little areas than do
Well, I
all of
think-
the work that they did.
Those areas kind of highlight how big of a piece of shit Kenji is.
Could
you know
it
what
be
I mean?
DLC? I know
I
there's some
guess,
Or
but you
DLC.
could just
Akira. Akira.
Click a button on the overworld to enter it and then have the cutscene rather than load into it and like walk up to this.
Yeah.
It just a little strange game design and a bit misleading, I guess. I don't
Yeah,
know. Weird.
the-
Weird.
One last thing about the endings that I think. Did you get something, Michael, in your ending, the law ending, where almost there's sort of a wistful comment being like, maybe this world needs a little bit of chaos or something like that?
No.
Okay, because in my
No, I
ending at the
don't.
end, Lucifer was like, you've uprooted the order and now things are so chaotic, but eventually people are going to need a leader, otherwise mankind will kill itself off. So then it was still like hinting like
Yeah.
law was still needed.
That was kind of how if you
Yeah.
parallel it with Infernal Tokyo, where even Akira says, like, yeah, I want to rule this place, and once I'm in charge, I want to tone it down, I want to put things in control.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
a place where strong and weak could live together, coexist.
damn,
They
that's
didn't
so
necessarily
lawful.
have to tread on them just to be chaotic.
Yeah, and I remember in Lawful, at the end, Merkaba goes, okay, I'm gonna nuke you, and he blows you up, and then he blows Tokyo up with it, and then afterwards it goes up into Mikado and shows a nice little panning shot over it and how peaceful everything is. They built a nice new statue of you, and then it just talks about how you preserve the way of life there, and everybody's happy and thriving, and so on.
The law ending where only Navarre survives. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, he's still around, probably.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. Good job, Navarre. He knew when to dip out of there.
Yeah, he's smart.
But Kay's there, Hope's there, all the good boys.
Most of those guys are getting along in the neutral ending, having a grand old time. I think Hugo's a wine enthusiast in Cafe Florida.
That's kind of cool. I'm kind of into that. That's funny.
I don't.
Hugo doesn't deserve to live, though. Hugo deserves to be put to the sword.
You're really chaotic right now, dude.
Well, Hugo doesn't get purged in the law ending either. So.
He doesn't?
Nope.
He's committed sins, dude. He admits it in the chaos ending. I guess
he gave it up. He gave it up once the gods came in power.
Fuck.
He became a good boy and listened to what they said. He lives.
All right.
Weird.
You know what's weird? This could be a little nitpick of mine. I wanted to see something happen, and it happened in the chaos when I saw you do it with the baker.
Oh yeah.
The baker, he's always there, and I like when they started the purge in Mikado, and they're getting rid of people who were reading the books. Actually, first, okay, I got back to the Black Samurai, the execution there when they do that, and you can talk to some of like the samurai, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, we've been, everyone's called into the plaza to watch this. They're required to go, and while they're there, we're gonna sneak into their houses and steal their books."
Yeah.
So they can't read it. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That's cool that there's like this little detail there. And so after the execution, I wanted to go see if I went and listened to all the other people, talk to them, and I want to see what was up with the baker, see if anything was different there, because he's always holding out that book. He wants you to go read it with him. And nothing's changed. He's still got his book in hand. Burroughs goes, we should leave. And then he's got his
Futanari Dojinshi in hand, and he's like, guys, you gotta fucking check this shit out.
Please,
gotta check this out.
Please. That is filth, and you must be purged.
Well, funny enough, he didn't get purged.
It looks a little oversight.
Yeah, that was why I was so frustrated. Because the law, they go, anybody who's been participating in that filth and has wants and desires or whatever it was, fucking killed.
Yeah.
And they made it a point to bring him up in the story early on that he's reading.
And so I go back there because I wanted to see if there was some cool flavor, like the baker's gone. Like how in Chaos, when you go there to the baker, when you get to explore Mikado, the baker's gone, implying he's a demon or he got killed or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I go there on law, and sure enough, he's got his book in hand. Oh, Burroughs goes, ooh, get away from him. We're going to be here a while. And then you leave.
Wow.
And that's it. It was just, I don't know. It's a little thing, but it just pissed me off. I wanted to see something happen with that storyline.
Closure on the baker.
The baker, I wanted to see what happened with him.
I had been wondering just exactly how were people able. Wasn't it a point earlier in the game that casualties generally couldn't read, and so it stuck out to me. And maybe I just made that point up in my head. But when you get to Kichi Georgie and people are turning into demons, like I guess a bunch of them learned how to read. Your character can apparently read the mystic script, even though you were a casualty.
Walter too.
I didn't know
Walter
about that. Yeah, Walter. A little strange, and the technology. It is interesting that you are from this kingdom that is just totally oblivious, and the relics you pick up the entire game make your character out like almost like a moron. Like you can't decipher just what regular clothing is in your inventory. Like what is this? But
what is this
very
cloth
quickly
shirt similar to what I am wearing?
Very quickly. It goes from, what is that strange device, this box in their hand, and they're like, they are using their cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Just some world building that was interesting, but they ramped it up really quick, where they tossed it by the wayside in some instances.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how when you first get to Tokyo, they actually mention that where they're like, their accents are really heavy. I'm almost thinking it's supposed to be the language in Mikado supposed to just be an offshoot of Japanese.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
Because
too.
that's how they were. Because they just said it sounded like a heavy accent.
Even though they sounded just like everyone else in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious about what Japanese dialect the voiced lines used in the OG dub.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of old
interesting.
ways of speaking and stuff in Japanese.
Yeah, none of it I thought was too concerning, but it all stuck out as just a little weird.
The reading part for sure, because it's really implied that the language, at least the written form of the language in Mikado, is much different. Because they always, the mystic script.
So says the mystic script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be really foreign. But then, yeah, you have these essential peasants who might not even know how to read their own language, reading these long books like No Longer Human.
Yeah.
And they're just really into it and following the plot. And like, I can't wait to read it tomorrow. It's interesting how some of that is just kind of thrown out the window for the sake of
It's very
convenience.
cool at the start. Just a shame.
Wasn't followed up on.
Not consistent. Well, what do you think, guys?
Yeah, well, let's, what do we... I'm looking forward. I'm interested in Apocalypse. I don't know if I'll actually play it, but it sounds like it's made a lot of improvements. And, I am interested in Shin Megami Tensei V. I'll say that. After playing this one, I am interested, but there's, a sizable amount of improvements that I think they need to make.
Definitely, yeah. I wanted to ask this too before we have closing thoughts. What do you guys think about these games now compared to the Persona series? Do you like? Are you more inclined to? Do you have any certain way you're leaning? I mean, I find myself liking the mainline SMT games a little more now than Persona.
I'm thinking,
Tough ask.
yeah, I think in the gameplay sense, I like the increased challenge. I like that it's punishing, it's unforgiving. And I like that. I like the gameplay more. And the themes are better. I like the darker themes. But I don't know, there's just something comfy. There's just something comfy about Persona.
Yeah,
At least for me, I still like it more, I got to say. It's just
that's true. Yeah.
I like that little, your little crew you get, even though if it is a little mind mush anime tropes, I'm into it. I like the groups, just the social stuff, and the stories are usually at least decent. But theme wise, gameplay wise, yeah, I gotta go with SMT.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I guess I think I'm leaning almost entirely on Persona.
Ooh, really?
I think the flavors of gameplay both stand up in their own right, so I couldn't really choose. There's a totally different dynamic when each demon has its own HP, MP, and move list, as opposed to Persona, where it's all tied to your character and the demon just provides the moves. There's ups and downs to both systems, and so I like them both, but a lot of the stuff in Shin Megami Tensei IV, story-wise, just kind of fell flat for me. And,
I agree with that, yeah.
Persona characters lately, each game, they're definitely becoming more trope anime bullshit, but I guess I still kind of like that more than the dry stuff in this game.
I feel ya. Yeah, all right. That's cool. We got the middle ground. We got the either side. We are almost kind of like Chaos Law neutral, huh?
Yeah. Except I got neutral this time.
You got neutral route. Good job.
Finally.
Good job, Michael.
Yes.
You did it, dude.
I achieved my goal.
So, yeah. Anybody, you guys want to wrap your final thoughts up of the game?
Yeah. I mean, I had a great time with it. There was a few little qualms here. I don't like neutral. I don't like neutral stuff. I think it's lame. I don't like I don't like that whole setup, the whole process to get it. I think it's a little too obtuse just for almost no reason. And I didn't like that part. That gave me a little bit of a sour taste, but you know, the journey through the game, I really had a fun time. I really liked the music. I really liked the combat. I just had a good time. I had a good time playing this. It was a fun one to go through.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad that we got our first guest on to play this game with us. It's my
Yeah.
personal
Yeah.
pick. I'm glad that, you had a good time with it.
Yeah, I'm
and you
glad
could
you
offer
guys
your
invited
insight.
me.
Very,
yeah.
very good. Very lucky too, considering this game, you know, it beat Battered and Bashed, one of our, the favorite host.
Kiowa got dissolved.
You got dissolved.
So thank you for having our backs there.
Yeah, I do what I can, guys. Here to help.
Shin Megami Tensei IV. Yeah. As I said, I am looking forward to the next games. There's some stuff that needs to be changed. Mostly mechanical stuff. I'm glad a lot of it seems to be addressed in Apocalypse, or some of it at least.
It's a good sign.
Did they change the questing system? Do you still have to like walk around, pick stuff up individually, like accept it? Is it still the same? There?
I can't remember.
Okay, fair enough. There's a lot of the moment-to-moment gameplay in Shin Megami Tensei IV outside of just combat really needed refining, but this game's a 2014 something. What?
2014, and it's a fucking 3DS game. Like,
And okay, yeah, that's my big thing. It's older. They've had a lot of years, but for me, this game really was held back by being on the 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys agree that. For me, picking the game up for short bursts, like a 3DS game generally is, really didn't help with all of that pacing stuff and getting lost, because then I'd just forget some of the details that happen, and I would get even more lost. And banger soundtrack handicapped by the speakers.
I had I got special little earbuds.
yes, you got to
Yeah,
hear
you
those
have
good
to
tracks.
pop in some
Just on the
headphones.
occasion.
I think that Shin Megami Tensei V being on the Switch should have a huge advantage there, because it's not going to have these issues. It's still portable, but everyone knows you can play it on your big screen if you want, and that's probably what I'll end up doing.
It's too bad it's only going to run at like 20 FPS ish.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
got to consider that.
Unfortunate.
It's pretty incredible that they got this game. Like, it's a humongous game for being on a 3DS cartridge. It's pretty insane.
I mean,
Like-
they a lot of the demons they managed probably to get by having all of the artwork. They're just artwork. They're PNGs.
Yep.
That's I wonder what they're gonna do in 5, if they're gonna go, with some of their spin-off games and Persona have 3D models for them again, or if they're gonna stick with this image sort of thing they got
That would
going on.
not work on a Switch. A higher
I
quality
don't think it
system,
would
that
either. And honestly,
look
I don't
bad.
really like it for 4, but I think that's how they managed to do it.
Yeah, that.
I think it's
essentially
cool. I like the stylized the PNGs for demons. I really liked. There's some cool touches that they do, especially with the kill animations.
Those are
Yeah, the
really
insane.
animations are cool.
Those are really good.
I'd like the designs for some of the evil demons and angels, like Lucifer's fucked up design. Like they look disgusting, and I don't know. They did the cool. I guess they are just kind of standing there.
I think
They're
that
just
works
standing
fine, but then you put them up against some of the old demon designs that they've had for a long time, and I think that's what kills it for me, is they just have so many crazy designs, and they're all just kind of sitting there.
Yeah, they're just sitting there.
Waiting.
I like when they have those flashing eyes. It's a really minor thing, but they just have the eyes that are just like flashing.
Yeah, there are a
red or
few
whatever.
frames of animation on a lot of demons, and some of them are more pronounced like that are very cool, especially the bosses.
Yeah, it's scary. It's intimidating.
But I think they could definitely do with some changes, some updates.
I'm
in
sure
future.
they'll use 3D models, but I just hope it doesn't run at the low frame rates or have humongous frame drops like the HD remake of Nocturne does.
Yuck.
Well, if the Switch can run a PS2 game like that, surely it'll be able to run a modern video game
A
better,
game
right?
designed for it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I see.
You're right, and it will.
Okay. You're right, yeah. I mean, I am right, yeah. I said the right thing.
You wouldn't lie to us.
No. It's going to run perfectly.
So I guess my summation of my thoughts, I'm glad that I picked this game and got to experience it again. I usually run across, I come back to the soundtrack and listen to it quite a few times, pretty often. You know, I really love the soundtrack, and it always gets me itching to play. And I'm glad to have a chance to do the Chaos route and talk about it with my buds. And I'm glad that everyone had somewhat of a good time playing it. And you know, I'm glad. I'm happy that I got to do this for the podcast game. My first personal pick.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really. You know, there are some things certainly that haven't aged well, and some things that are very, very frustrating. I'm not going to say it was fun to play the whole time, but I did have a good time playing it in general. I'm just hoping that, you know, SMT5 fixes some of these little gripes and these big issues. And, you know, I'm really hoping that SMT5 breaks out into the mainstream and gets...
that's the big thing.
Yeah, because I think that there's a lot of the themes and mature, dark, fucked up vibes that the mainline Shin Megami Tensei games have there's not a lot of good like JRPGs that have that going for them. There's just a lot of like, come on guys, let's go on a fucking adventure, dude. Like fucking like, and like Persona is just like these dumbass
Dude, Walter
kids,
said that too.
stupid ass teenagers, like don't know what's going on, talking about pancakes or whatever in the middle of the world, in the middle of a crowded thing.
Say pancakes?
It's just getting frustrating.
Are you okay?
Like, I'm just getting, you know, tropes and stuff get these games don't really have a lot of tropes going on as far as
Except Apocalypse.
Apocalypse, man. That's its big fault.
It's, you know,
And
it's
I hope
leaning
that
into the
SMT5
future. This is the future of SMT, dude.
Yeah. Maybe
You
some of
live
that
with
stuff
it.
will have to be sacrificed in order to get it the attention it deserves. I don't know. But I hope it opens more people up to the series, and I hope that it becomes more prevalent, more than Persona.
Hey, don't get ahead of yourself.
It's
Don't get
not
ahead of
gonna
yourself,
more
Jade.
than
It'll never
Persona.
become more popular than Persona. There's no
Good.
way it's going to become more popular than Persona, but I think
I
it
also don't want
deserves
them
to
to
be.
milk it the same way.
Yeah.
Like SMT is what it is because it has a somewhat niche appeal.
Yeah.
So
The milking, the money, the cash cow that Persona is just, it makes me dislike it even more. It's really gross.
it's
but-
changed it.
But think of it like this: it helps fund projects like SMT.
I hope so. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Hopefully
P5
the
money's poured
SMT5
right
is like a
into it.
good... Yeah, they'll put all their money into SMT5. It'll be their passion project. And then they'll go and milk Persona 6 for 10 years.
No, there's still a few more crossovers of 5 to come.
That's right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot they haven't made the fighting game yet. They haven't made the kart racing game. They haven't done quite a lot for Persona 5 yet. So we'll see how that
Joker's
shakes
going to
out.
be in Genshin Impact soon.
Yeah, the Joker crossover. Yeah, that's gonna be great. I can't wait until Joker's on like my milk cartons and stuff.
Ooh.
Like I'll go out and buy milk.
Literal
and,
milk.
Yeah, and
Get
it'll be
the
like
special-
Joker says to drink your milk. Did you get all your daily calcium recommendations?
Rebel against your parents.
You want to be rebellious like me? Drink your milk.
Yeah. Oh boy. So yeah, that'll about wrap up this episode. Shin Megami Tensei IV for the Nintendo 3DS the Nintendo 3DS handheld entertainment system.
Yes. Great pick.
Thank you. Hopefully, I'll have more Maybe you could just let me pick the next couple games.
No, probably not. You gotta wait.
I think
wait.
I should pick them.
We have a debate coming up because no one can decide what the next game is. So we're actually doing a little debate to figure out what our next games are going to be. That'll be coming out next. And we have some other content that we might sprinkle in. We keep working on those Genshin episodes, hopefully, unless we fall off of the game, which is... ...
Yep.
But yeah, thanks very much for listening to the episode. Thanks for listening. We love you very much. Have a good night. Have a happy midnight.
Happy midnight.
Happy midnight.